You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Fox 17 News waking up at a code red weather alert. You see some storms in the bottom right hand of your screen starting to make their way into Middle Tennessee. This is not why we're in code red. This afternoon toward this evening, wind and hail could be a possible threat. We'll look at that in just moments.
Also now on Fox 17 News this morning, the suspect in the fatal shooting yesterday is still on the run. We're going to tell you everything we know so far from there in Madison. Also, families are continuing to just look over the aftermath of a tornado that took the life of a woman. Now family members are speaking out and remembering her before the upcoming funeral. Thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 17 News this morning. It's a Tuesday morning just after 4 a.m. I'm Justin McFarland. We're going to begin this morning with Metro Police, who say that a suspect is on the run after a person was shot and killed in Madison. Now, police say the shooting happened on Wellworth Street just around 3 p.m. yesterday. The victim was taken to the hospital. That is where they died. Their identity has not been released. Police say they are now looking for a black man who was wearing green sweatpants and a light gray hoodie at the time. If you have any information, you're asked to call police. Well, we've got Code Red this morning. The question is why. Greg Bovis has got the answers.
That we do. This is one of those code reds where it's not like last week. I want to start off prefacing with that. We're not worried about an outbreak like we had Wednesday and Thursday of last week. This time around, it is more of a heads up code red when it comes to there will be some strong storms this afternoon that could potentially give us 1 or 2 severe thunderstorm warnings for hail and wind. And we have the cleanup efforts still going on in Murray County. And many of us here just even hearing the word severe weather after last week with all the warnings that we saw. I want to really preface this as this morning, you're going to have rain coming down. It's going to move in. We'll have some storms. These are going to be non-severe. Could they be a little bit of a nuisance to your morning commute? Absolutely, once they get here. But mainly the afternoon and evening, wind and hail threats. Storm threat's not zero. It's never at zero when you have a storm, but we're about as close as you can get. Here's the last hour of things tracking in. Here's a broken line. Sometimes seeing a little bit of lightning here. So maybe you're waking up this morning and you are in Paris or Camden, even Waverly. In the next 30 to 40 minutes, things begin to move in for you. Pretty quick mover this morning. I wouldn't be shocked if this moves into the Nashville area by about 6 o'clock this morning, or between 6 and 7 is a good ballpark for it. 65 right now, fairly overcast. We'll keep tracking the radar and what's out there. We'll talk about all the threats we're facing and why this is a very low-end code red alert mode, just kind of literally to give you alertness to being weather aware for this afternoon.
Steer clear traffic at 403 this morning. Takes a look here at I-65 at Trinity Lane there on the north side. Traffic moving along really nicely there in that location. No big holdups there for you as you get out and about this morning. If something does change, we'll be sure to let you know with the very latest with steer clear traffic. But right now, right this second, you're doing just fine there on that north side. We'll continue to watch things for you, let you know what we find. We're new this morning. We are hearing from the family of the woman who was killed when an EF3 tornado took out her home in Murray County last week. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar joins us live from very close to where that tornado touched down after speaking with her daughter, who is now remembering her mom who passed.
Good morning, Justin. Her daughter, Brianne Lovett, I spoke with her right where I'm standing, near where her beloved mom, Cheryl, was inside of her home the time that the tornado struck it and destroyed this area. Her mom's home blown off and leaving only the foundation. Brianne tells me her mom, Cheryl, lived...
Remember my mom?
Tells me Cheryl was a devoted mother and grandmother, and Sunday for Mother's Day was very hard to endure. She tells me Cheryl had worked at Stan's restaurant for 41 years, retiring in hopes of spending more time with her grandbabies, but was killed that very day. Her biggest request is for us to not forget the amazing woman she was.
Remember my mom? We all can replace all of this. I don't want anybody to ever forget her. She's an unforgettable person, and just pray for our family.
The funeral for Cheryl will be tomorrow morning at Oaks and Nichols Funeral Home in Columbia. Reporting live in Columbia, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
All right, Karen, thank you so much. We do have continuing coverage on the Rutherford County boy who was swept into a storm drain by fast-moving floodwaters. Asher Sullivan's father, Jimmy Sullivan, sharing some heartbreaking news on social media. Of course, Sullivan is the superintendent for Rutherford County Schools. He says that doctors told his family that Asher was no longer breathing on his own. Doctors did say they saw some eye movement a little bit later in the day. The family is now waiting and still praying for a miracle. In the meantime, Vanderbilt head baseball coach Tim Corbin is also giving back to the family. He's invited Asher's brother to watch games with the Commodore from the team's dugout.
Sports sometimes can bring relief to families and people in times of need, and this is just one of those times.
In the meantime, Rutherford County Schools is showing their support for Asher by wearing blue and green. Those are his favorite colors. Of course, we'll continue to keep you up to date as we get more information from the Sullivan family. Well, coming up, major testimony in the case of a former president of the United States and his hush money trial, as Michael Cohen says he was told to make payments to silence the allegations. And inching closer to clear a path for cargo ships. We're going to show you the big demolition. This is.
I'm just trying to.
No. You weren't there. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Judge Judy.
Tomorrow at 4 on Fox 17.
Welcome back to Fox 17 News this morning. Making headlines, Michael Cohen, who was directly impacted by the former President Donald Trump, as he says he took the stand yesterday in the criminal hush money trial. Now, the ex-attorney for the former president telling jurors that Trump approved large payouts to try and stifle stories about a sexual relationship with Stormy Daniels that he thought would harm his 2016 presidential campaign. Cohen says that Trump told him, quote, "You handle it," after a doorman came forward with false claims that Trump fathered a child out of wedlock. Now, he claims that Trump gave similar directions when a Playboy model, Karen McDougal, came forward with an affair allegation. Trump denies all of this and claims that Cohen has lied on the stand before. Of course, we'll continue to watch that story there from Manhattan. Let's talk about the White House National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, who says that the Biden administration does not believe the war in Gaza is genocide. Now, President Biden has faced scrutiny over the United States' support for Israel in the middle of dire humanitarian situations there in Gaza. Sullivan laying out the administration's view on the war yesterday at the White House press briefing. He says that Biden wants to see Hamas defeated, but knows that Palestinian civilians caught in the middle of this war are, quote, in hell.
We believe Israel can and must do more to ensure the protection and well-being of innocent civilians. We do not believe what is happening in Gaza is a genocide. We have been firmly on record rejecting that proposition.
The Biden administration is also facing criticism for pausing a shipment of bombs to Israel. Sullivan says that the shipment of bombs was paused because the White House does not believe they should be dropped in cities. Crews in Baltimore, Maryland conducted a controlled demolition, sending the remaining spans of the Francis Scott Key Bridge into the water below. Watch. You heard the explosion and then splash right there. You can see the smoke also coming up into the air. It's a step towards trying to free a container ship that has been stuck there since colliding with the bridge back in late March. 6 construction workers died in that collapse. After the demolition, the ship there can be refloated and then taken back into the harbor. Authorities say that they are on track to fully reopen the channel by the end of the month. It's still unknown exactly when the bridge will be rebuilt or exactly how much that's going to cost or who entirely is going to pay for it.
Coming up in the Code Red forecast, showers and storms moving in this morning. That is not a cause for concern when it comes to severe weather, but we're Code Red for this afternoon into this evening. We'll time it out.
Plus, we're following steer clear traffic. This is I-24 Hickory Hollow Parkway down in the Antioch area. We're going to take a closer look towards the airport when we come back. Plus, police.
They've worried about the cost and hassle of replacing their windows.
But when they heard about Window Nation's high quality and legendary affordability, they were ready to team up with the pros. See how much you could save with a free estimate today.
4:13 is the time. Welcome back to Fox 17 News this morning. That's a live look there along Lower Broadway. The streets are clean this morning after the crews have come through and done what they normally do on a nightly basis. But pretty soon, Mother Nature will have a chance to clean everything as we've got rain moving our way. Greg Bobus has got the very latest with your Code Red weather alert coming up here in minutes. Before that, though, we want to tell you about the latest thing happening in Wilson County in Operation Crime and Justice. A man is facing 60 years in prison for child sex crimes against 3 different victims. 50-year-old Pedro Barrera will likely spend the rest of his life behind bars after being convicted of charges, including child rape and aggravated sexual battery. Now, the crimes happened between 2017 and 2020, with victims with the age range of 7 to 9 years old. All 3 of the victims testified at the trial. An alert to watch out for this morning, and we're talking about online hoaxes, as the Murfreesboro Police Department says that social media post claiming that a child was found is fake. Now, there's a fake post floating around talking about a young child being found in Rutherford County. And police say they've got the child, but they don't know who the parents are. Murfreesboro police say there are no cases that match up with this kind of a post, and they are fake. They're asking anyone who knows exactly who is starting these fake posts that are going around on social media to please call that number right there at the bottom of your screen. They're trying to put a stop to it. What's happening now? Cleanup continues out at Drakes Creek Park in Hendersonville. This is after last week's storm brought some major flooding to that area. Fox 17 News photojournalist Kevin Mumphrey out there on the scene as we spoke with park officials last week who say they just finished repairing the park after last December's deadly tornado outbreak. It cost about $1 million to reopen the park. Well, now park officials are assessing the damage from last week's flooding. There's no word yet on exactly how much it could cost to repair the park this time after the latest round of severe weather that turned Drakes Creek Park into more creek than park. So, what about the next round of storms? Greg Bobus is watching it for us. We've gone Code Red here in the studios. Greg, what is going on out there?
This morning, our western county is right along the Tennessee River, starting to see some showers and weak storms bubble up. And those are going to track through Nashville this morning. That's not severe weather that we have to be concerned with. And this is the lowest end threat we could possibly have when it comes to Code Red. But after what happened last week, I don't want the nerves to be up and the anxiety to be up. So we're going Code Red as a precautionary measure for afternoon potential wind and hail. There will be some storms that do develop and fire this afternoon between noon and 6 p.m. and 1 or 2 of those could be strong. I'm not worried about tornadoes, just mainly a wind threat if we even see storms that get that strong. But I don't want the timing to be escaping the back of our minds here after what happened last week, so we don't have that shock and awe when storms start moving in. Taking a look here, Lawrenceburg about 10 minutes. Pretty quick moving band of some weak thunderstorms tracking to the east-northeast. So give that just a little bit of back in the mind once as well. Taking a look at Camden, Linden, moving out of these areas, same with Waynesboro in about the next half hour, but moving into places like Hohenwald and Waverly in the next 15 to 20 minutes. I would call Centerville a little bit more than that 14-minute window, but less than a half hour until the showers begin to really pick up. What could this mean later on this morning? Well, I'll be tracking storms that move right through the metro area. All of our main thoroughfares into and out of town are going to see some showers and storms later on this morning between around 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Non-severe thunderstorms with pockets of heavy rain. And with how much rain we put down last week, there could be some areas of some spot flooding this morning or this afternoon and some standing water. So we're going to keep our eyes on all of that. Right now, we are dry downtown, 65 degrees on the fairly cloudy side. Temperatures later this afternoon will be in the 70s. The next check of the forecast, we're going to look at future track and get ourselves through today and tomorrow. Just know that tomorrow there will be a few more scattered storms. Those are looking like they pack even less of a punch than today, which is a good thing. And Thursday is still our only dry day of the week.
Steer clear traffic. Let's get you to the very latest happening out there on I-40 at Donaldson Pike. That is close to the airport. Traffic up there moving along really nicely. No big problems up there so far this morning. No big problems on the flight deck either. We've taken a look at the big board. You're in good shape out there as far as your flights are concerned. But as the rain gets closer to town, you never know what could happen. We got you covered with Steer Clear Traffic as we're live and local through 9. News from the economy this morning. A sudden rally in the stock of the video game retailer GameStop yesterday has already caused losses of at least $1 billion for those who are short selling the stock. Now, trading was halted on the stock. This is all in the middle of the chaos. Short selling involves the prediction that the stock value will drop below a certain level and stay above that level. The short seller has to cover their loss. Now, as buying surged, the value of the GameStop stock did just that. And that means major losses for those looking to short sell this particular stock. Regulators say that this can be very, very risky.
These are highly risky, highly volatile products, and you need to know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're likely going to lose money. And we've done examinations around this space. And unfortunately, more often than not, investors are losing money.
Well, the sudden rise in buying was likely triggered by an online account called Roaring Kitty. That account once encouraged everyday investors to leap into GameStop and creating similar situations to what they saw back in 2021. That social media post recently says that they were looking to do it again. People trying to get ahead of the big rise there. Well, country singer Toby Keith was granted an honorary degree from the University of Oklahoma on Saturday. This is a full 3 months after the singer died. His daughter, Crystal Keith, accepted the degree on behalf of her late father during the university's graduation. The musician died back in February at the age of 62 after a battle with stomach cancer. Crystal Keith says that her father was told about the honor before he passed away. Toby Keith is an Oklahoma native and a huge fan of Oklahoma Sooner football. All three of his children are alumni of the University of Oklahoma. Well, coming up, our first look at the NFL schedule, the big rematch that a lot of people are looking forward to. Plus more on a big
4429 or visit lifelock.com/25TV to save 25% on your first year of identity theft protection. Enroll now.
4:23, we are on a code red weather alert. This is not an alert like it was last week, but a few storms this afternoon could give us some decent wind and possibly some hail with them as well. So I want to work you through it and just not be a cause for concern when it comes to tornadoes being a threat like it was Wednesday and Thursday of last week. A completely different setup today. Well, the line of showers and storms just starting to make their way into Middle Tennessee. Your next look at the radar will be in about 5 minutes from right now, so we'll keep tracking that for you as it makes its way closer to Nashville. Quick moving showers and storms. They're going to be rolling through downtown by around 6 o'clock this morning and continue all the way on and off through 7, 8, and 9. Here is 9 a.m. We get a little bit of a lull for us for about an hour or so, and then afternoon, 1 p.m., works us through the afternoon into the evening. Isolated showers and storms. The reds and oranges showing us a few that could get a little bit stronger, and I want to emphasize again, it's wind and hail this time around. We're not even guaranteed to get a severe storm or two, but we could have a few that pop up. We're in a category 1 out of 5, meaning it's the lowest threat we had. We were well above that last week, and that was for multiple days. So this is not the same setup. By the time we get towards sunset, we're good. We're fine all night tonight. No worries. Tomorrow morning, not nearly as active as this morning. Here, 6 a.m., relatively dry. Afternoon, a few showers and storms, much weaker than today. So our code red threat basically is from noon to around 6, 7 o'clock this evening. And then we'll go back to run-of-the-mill showers and storms to take us through your Wednesday and finally dry out just in time for Thursday.
Clear traffic takes us over to the north side, everyone. This is going to be I-65 at Dickerson Pike there. On that north side, you can see for yourself traffic moving along at a very nice pace out there this morning. No big delays, no big holdups, at least not yet. This particular area will back up a little bit later in the morning, but right now it's doing just fine. We got you covered as we are accident-free for the time being with Steer Clear traffic live and local through 9. Well, we are talking a little bit more this morning about the transportainment vehicles that you may have seen downtown. Those moving bars that you may have seen, whether they're trailers or tractors or buses or whatever they are, but they're all over Broadway and they're basically mobile parties. Now, the area that we're talking about in particular where they're most concerned about them is right here along Broadway here in downtown Nashville. That is going to be right here in this this corridor there in downtown Nashville, the main drag there along Lower Broadway. And when I say the main drag, really what we're talking about is right in here in this area on Lower Broadway from 8th Avenue, which is where Hume Fogg is, all the way down to the riverfront. Now, we first brought you this story yesterday. City leaders have voted to keep them out of downtown from 4 to 6 p.m. during the evening rush hour. Entertainment business owners are not happy about this at all. So we want to hear from you. Should party buses and transportainment vehicles be allowed to operate during rush hour? Well, some of you have chimed in. 80% of you say no, they should not be allowed to do such a thing. 19% of you or 20% of you say yes, they should. Now, so far, around 750 people have voted. If you would like to join them, you can scan that QR code right there on your screen. You can also go to our X account. You can find us at Fox Nashville. Well, let's talk about one of my favorite subjects, the National Football League. They're set to release their schedule coming up here a little bit later this week. And what we know so far is the Kansas City Chiefs will kick off the season coming up here on September the 5th, as is the NFL tradition. The first game of the season will be an AFC Championship game rematch between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the social media account highlights the two quarterbacks in this case, which will be Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. The Ravens lost the AFC Championship game to the Chiefs last season. 17-10 was the final score on their road to the Super Bowl. The full NFL schedule, including where the Tennessee Titans are going to be opening up their season, will be released tomorrow, by the way. You can also check out that game between Kansas City and Baltimore. Former Titans running back Derrick Henry, who now plays for the Ravens. Coming up, police want to help figure out who's responsible for a hit and run that left one man dead on the side of the highway. We'll take you there. Plus, Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell.
Common side effects include sneezing, cough, and throat and nose irritation.
Relying only on drops? Not me. My own real tears are my relief.
Ask your eye doctor about Tearvia.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Waking up on a Code Red weather alert to start today. You can see the bottom right-hand side of your screen. Showers and storms beginning to move into Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. We're not Code Red for this morning. It's this afternoon toward the evening that will time out in your forecast.
Plus, for the first time, we are hearing from family of the woman who was killed in that EF3 tornado that destroyed her home in Murray County last week. We'll take you there. Plus, a Middle Tennessee couple killed in a shootout in Texas with police. We're going to tell you what authorities say they were transporting back here to the volunteer state. Thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 17 News this morning, just after 4:30 here on your Tuesday morning. I'm Justin McFarland. We know that 7 tornadoes touched down here in Middle Tennessee during last week's storms, but now another round of potentially severe weather is headed this way. Let's get straight over to our Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist, Greg Bobus, for more on our Code Red weather alert.
And this is a low-end alert. Want to stress that all morning long, just so we're all on the same page here. We could potentially have 1 or 2 stronger storms this afternoon that could give us some damaging wind or some decent sized hail. That's only a little bit stronger than it looked yesterday morning. This is not a widespread tornado outbreak. We're in the lowest severe category we could be in, but there's enough of a possibility of 1 or 2 strong storms that we're giving you the heads up. Last Wednesday and Thursday was just not easy to get through for so many of us that it can already be triggering to hear the word severe weather. This is not by any means something to take lightly, but just know that it's not a high-end risk factor for us. And also this morning, you're going to have rain move through. Almost all of us here. That's not the Code Red. It could be very inconvenient, absolutely, but we're going to have this line of showers and storms continue to move to the north and to the east throughout this morning, and it will give us some damp pavement. It will give us some visibility issues when it moves through our neighborhoods. Just keep in mind, this is not going to be severe weather to start the day. The timeline will be noon through around 7 p.m. You can see Dover momentarily. Next minute or two, wind's going to pick up. You've already got the lightning show to your west, and then that rain going to pick up with it as well. McEwen, same deal, next 5-10 minutes. Tennessee City, 10 to 12 minutes. Going more down toward the south, where we're seeing a few, again, claps of lightning, weak thunderstorms at best. Centerville, about 5 minutes away, and you get down toward Mount Pleasant, 20 minutes away. Hohenwald moving in as we're talking right now on air. Taking a look here, Lawrenceburg also seeing some collapses, some thunder and lightning. That's kind of died down a touch as it's moved into your area, but again, weak thunderstorms that are sub-severe. That's how this morning is going to be. We mentioned the 7 tornadoes. We now have 3 confirmations in Lincoln County that were all EF1 tornadoes. The Huntsville National Weather Service got out there yesterday and were able to get some surveying done. So now we are up to 7 in the viewing area. No changes anywhere else across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. We'll look ahead to Future Track and your 7-day forecast. We'll find one dry day and one day up near 90 coming up in a few minutes.
Steer clear traffic takes us out this morning to I-24 Hickory Hollow Parkway as you make that drive in from the Antioch area. Looking really nice so far. Things will change later this morning. It'll be bumper to bumper here before long, but right now we're doing good, and we're doing good in most locations. Here are your drive times right now. Mount Juliet in at 27 minutes, Murfreesboro just around 49 minutes, and Franklin coming in at 25 minutes. Every single one of these times on the screen will continue to go higher as the morning moves on. We'll continue to watch it for you live through 9. What's happening now? Dickson County investigators are now investigating the death of a man who was found on the side of the highway. They say that the man's body was found on Beasley Drive. That's very close to Highway 48 on Sunday. They say that they believe the victim was walking along the road at some point overnight when he was possibly involved in a crash. The name of the victim has not been released. The Dickson Police Department is asking anyone who drove by Beasley Drive near Highway 48 from 8 p.m. on Saturday to around 8 a.m. on Sunday to give them a call if you've got any more information. That number right there on your screen. Well, this morning, we are hearing from the family of the woman who was killed in an EF3 tornado when that tornado hit her home in Murray County just last week. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar joins us live from where that tornado touched down after speaking with her daughter to talk about how her mom is being remembered.
Justin, among all this destruction is where I found her daughter, Brianne Lovett, still dealing with the painful loss of her mom, Cheryl, who was killed nearby inside of her home from last week's tornado. Brianne tells me that this woman was such a great devoted mother, and she will be greatly missed. And this is a hole that will be very hard to fill. She tells me that ahead of her mom's funeral tomorrow, she wants Cheryl to be remembered for who she was. She had an outgoing personality, and she was also witty, blunt even at times. And again, she was not just a devoted mother, she was a devoted grandmother who was loved by so many.
I've talked to so many people that knew my mom that I didn't even know knew my mom. Customers where she worked at stands for 41 years. They loved her. They all loved her. You'd go in and people would come up and say, "Is that cranky old woman your mom?" And I'm like, "Yep, that is her." She'd go up, she'd throw menus down. "What do y'all want to drink?" You know, but that was her. She didn't do it because she was mad. That was her. That's just who she was.
As you just heard, she touched the lives of so many, and the biggest request is for us to honor her, and this is exactly what we are trying to do by remembering who she was. And even though Brianne lost her home, she says the only thing that matters is the life that was lost and can no longer be replaced. Cheryl's funeral will be tomorrow at Oaks and Nichols Funeral Home in Columbia. Reporting live in Columbia, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Thank you so much, Karen. Where a Putnam County couple has died after a shootout with police in Texas. Listen to this story. The Putnam County Sheriff's Office says that they found drugs and guns in Elizabeth and Edward Stevenson's vehicle. This happened back on May the 9th, actually in their home. Now, detectives got a tip that the Stevensons were driving through Texas. Well, deputies found them and then chased them for several miles before the couple stopped and had a shootout with deputies. The Stevensons died in that shootout. Authorities say they found around $3 million worth of cocaine in the Stevensons' vehicle. All of it appeared to be coming back to Middle Tennessee. happening this morning. Nashville's Mayor Freddie O'Connell will deliver his State of the Metro address. Now, this will be the first one for him as mayor. The address will take place at 10 a.m. over at the fairgrounds here for the city of Nashville. Mayor O'Connell is expected to highlight the work already happening to deliver the recommendations of 3 transition committees. He's also expected to address feedback from people living in Nashville about what could make the city a little bit better. Now, we'll have more on the 61st annual State of the Metro address coming up a little bit later this afternoon on Fox 17 News at 5:30. Independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy is now suing Meta. We're going to tell you what he's accusing the social media company of doing to disrupt his campaign. And the CDC is tracking a new variant.
Brentwood at 4:15 on Wednesday.
Providing you the information needed to prepare and stay safe. Fox 17 News, your Code Red station. Alerts, empowers, protects.
Welcome back. Time right now is 4:44. We are waking up on the Code Red weather alert. You're going to have rain move in this morning. This is not rain to worry about. This afternoon, we have a chance. There could be 1 or 2 stronger storms that could involve some damaging wind or possible hail with them. We're not worried about a tornado threat today. And comparing last week to this week, completely different setups. We're not talking about a widespread tornado outbreak or a widespread severe weather day. Just know that the afternoon between noon and 6 p.m., be a little weather aware and watch out for some lightning, especially moving through the area. Here is a line of showers and storms moving through, and these are moving pretty quickly. So if you're in Cadiz, if you're out toward Beverly, Fort Campbell, in the next 15 to 25 minutes moving through Hopkinsville, within the next half hour, we'll start to get pretty close to this rain moving in for you guys as well. There are some lightning strikes with this as well, but this is not going to be severe weather. You take a look. Dickson, going to be seeing this in about 15, 20 minutes. In Charlotte, same with you as well. Once the rain picks up, not going to last all that long. It's going to be in and out of your neighborhood in about an hour. Centerville down through the Lawrenceburg area as well. Next in line, Columbia, Mount Pleasant, and also Lewisburg. So those cleaning up this morning in Murray County. There's going to be a couple hours here where we do have some showers and storms. We'll work you through the afternoon and any potential severe weather in the next check of your forecast.
Clear traffic for you this morning. Let's get you out and about. This is going to be I-65 at Dickerson Pike there, just north of downtown. You can see traffic there in that location, really getting along without any problems. We are accident-free out there on the interstates. That includes here, I-40 at Church Street, right next to Nashville Electric Service over there on the west side of downtown. Any business to take care of over there, looking good so far this morning. Watch out for the potholes at times over there. This particular area can be notorious for those. But we're going to be watching other areas of town coming up here throughout the morning. In national news, independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s campaign is now suing Facebook and their parent company Meta. Now, they're accusing Meta of election interference after a digital video was briefly blocked on Meta platforms. The video features conversations with Kennedy meant to inform viewers about him while pushing back on criticisms of his candidacy. Now, a Meta spokesperson told the New York Times that the link has been incorrectly flagged as spam and mistakenly blocked, but the issue was fixed within hours. Meta has not responded to a request for comment. Meanwhile, RFK will be in Nashville coming up tomorrow, hosting a comedy night at the Ryman Auditorium to support his campaign. Turning now to health news. Experts do see that there is a brand new COVID-19 variant, KP.2, that is expected to surge coming up here this summer. The CDC says that the KP.2 variant makes up 28% of the infections here in the United States. Those cases became more dominant by the end of April, outpacing the previous winter's variant. Experts say the latest variant has more mutations, which could make it easier for it to escape protections from both vaccines and the previous infections that were out there. The United States COVID case has spiked every summer since 2020. Well, preventing school shootings, we're going to tell you why some are now turning to artificial intelligence to try and keep students safe. and a fire breaks out.
Beats Allegra. It's the fastest, non-drowsy 24-hour allergy relief. Live your greatness.
.446 is the time. Live look there over Metro Center on the north side of town. Cloudy start to the day, and the clouds are not just there for show. They're going to produce some rain coming up here a little bit later. Now, how much will it produce and how bad will it get? Greg Bobus has issued a code red weather alert, and we'll give you the full details coming up in a few. U.S. airlines are now suing the Biden administration over a brand new disclosure rule. Now, under the rule, airlines and travel agents have to disclose any service fees up front, alongside the price of the flight. The lawsuit was filed by a group of carriers, including American Airlines, Delta, United, and their industry trade group. They are arguing that the rule will confuse customers and the Transportation Department is overstepping its authority. The department says the rule is meant to protect customers from hidden junk fees and is promising to defend it. This morning's crisis in the classroom takes us across the country. That is where now many school boards are turning to artificial intelligence in hope of preventing school shootings. Fox 17 News' Jeff Harris explains.
Kivel Stasic has an 8-year-old daughter in public school in New Jersey. She says she would be all in if her daughter's school wanted to boost security with AI.
It's a persistent problem, and we have it on our minds.
In 2019, gun violence in the United States became the leading cause of death among children for the first time ever.
And it would instill a sense of security for me as a parent, that there is a proactive system in place.
For hundreds of schools across the country, that proactive system has been AI technology, and one company called ZeroEyes is leading the charge.
Could we build a technology layer that could help mitigate the next Parkland South shooting?
ZeroEyes uses AI with existing security cameras to identify visible guns, not concealed or in a bag. If verified as a legitimate threat, an alert is sent to the school and local law enforcement within seconds.
I think our software is live across K-12 school districts in at least 35 states right now.
But not everyone is a fan of using AI or has the money to buy it, which is why states like Kansas are looking into establishing grants for schools.
We have a sort of a very focused and dedicated client base and fan base within Kansas that recommended that we go talk to legislatures.
And I would much prefer that my tax dollars do go into funding something like this, granted that it does work the way we want it to work.
Well, happening now, cleanup continues over at Drake Creek Park that is in Hendersonville. This is after last week's storms brought some major flooding to that area. Now, Fox 17 News photojournalist Kevin Mumphrey is there on the scene as Hendersonville Park and Rec officials say that several of their parks are still underwater. Now, at Drake's Creek Park, officials say most of the baseball and softball fields are still closed. They add that parts of the Memorial Park are also closed this morning. Officials say that many people have reached out to them to see what they can do to help, and they say a park cleanup day could be happening very soon. So the question is, will they need another one after the next round of storms comes through? Let's get to Greg Bobus right now. He's standing by to tell us exactly why we've gone code red, Greg.
Code red from noon until about 6 p.m. for wind and possible hail.
Okay.
We're not worried about tornadoes. There could be a few spots that had a lot of rain last week that could have some spot flooding just because we're still seeing water levels decrease in a lot of our streams, rivers, and creeks. Just keep that in mind. But the only potential for storms that could be on the stronger side will be those afternoon hours. This morning, you're going to get some rain coming down. We're going to jump right back on the radar in about 4 minutes from now and take a look at that and future track. But the big story for today, mainly wind and hail. And we're not even guaranteed to get severe weather. It's more of a heads up code red because after what happened last week, triggering could easily become one of those things this afternoon where you get a little unsettled and the anxiety settles in. This is not like last week. Here's the current setup. Line of showers and weak storms moving in. We're going to, again, get right back to tracking them, but it's put us into alert mode for that 6-hour window. Nighttime going to be fine. You can rest easy overnight. Once sunset hits, we're done. Here we are. We're in a category 1 out of 5. How does that compare to last week? Last week, we were in a 4 out of 5. So a much lower threat for us here today. This really is just to make sure we know what's happening this afternoon. We're still staying vigilant and weather aware. We've got our Code Red weather app ready to go with location services turned on, because this will be during the daytime hours. A lot of us trying to drive home from work later, or maybe just out and about. 78 degrees later on this afternoon, right side of your screen. You're waking up in the 60s. No rain in the Nashville area just yet.
Steer clear traffic. Let's get you to the very latest happening here on I-40 at White Bridge Road. That's over in West Nashville. You can see for yourself, there are several trucks over there against the wall, sleeping silently there against the wall as the traffic calmly goes by. No big problems out there this morning. We're accident free other than the sleeping trucks there in West Nashville. We'll continue to follow things, let you know anything that pops up with Steer Clear Traffic live through 9. A Nashville VA medical center says that no one was hurt when a small fire broke out on the roof. This happened yesterday. They say the fire started around 3:30 in the afternoon as part of the hospital was evacuated because of smoke. No patients or staff members were hurt. Hospital officials say they are now assessing the damage, and they say patients will be contacted if their appointment will be impacted. There's no word yet on the exact cause of that fire. Continuing coverage on the disappearance and death of college student Riley Strain. People in Nashville and across the country are now working to try to make Music City a safer place. Surveillance video shows Strain staggering along the street there on Lower Broadway and eventually over to several side streets before colliding with a pole. This is after he left the downtown bar. Strain later ended up in the Cumberland River. His body was found 2 weeks later. Some city leaders are looking to permanently hire a group that helps people sober up, providing a tent space perhaps downtown with water, phone chargers, and simply somewhere not to be left vulnerable.
What kind of emerged is a gray area where someone maybe is asked to leave a bar. They're not so drunk that they need to be taken into police custody or sent to the hospital, but they're not in a space where they're really safe to go home by themselves.
Fox 17 News' Kelly Avellino is looking into all the ways Music City is aiming for better safety of many of its visitors downtown. She'll have a complete story coming up tonight on Fox 17 News at 9. A record turnout for this year's steeplechase in Nashville. We're going to tell you how many people showed up for the annual race. And history is made in London. Take a look at that. We're going to tell you how long.
Morgan & Morgan got my initial offer 10x'd, and I never even got a check. I just got a direct deposit into my bank account. It's so easy.
.456 is the time. Welcome back to Fox 17 News this morning. Live look there across the Cumberland River. This is from the L&C Tower in downtown Nashville, and we are looking at a cloudy start. The question is, are the clouds going to lead to anywhere but just, a gloomy start, or will there be rain to come with it? Greg Bobus has got the details coming up here for us in the next few minutes. In the meantime, we now know there was a record-breaking number of racegoers in attendance for the Iroquois steeplechase that happened over the weekend in Nashville. Organizers saying more than 30,000 people were at this year's race out there at Percy Warner Park. It was a historic day for the horse Snap Decision, who secured a third overall victory in the race. The annual event supports causes for the Monroe Carroll Jr.'s Children's Hospital over at Vanderbilt and Friends of Warner Park. Well, check this out. 2 skydivers did something Sunday morning that they have never done before, or anyone has ever done before. They flew through London's famous Tower Bridge. Look at that. Wow. Now, the jump itself took only about 45 seconds, but it was months in the making. The Austrian, let's give credit where credit's due, Austrian free fall skydiving duo trained for about a year to make this happen, which included flying between 2 cranes set up to match the dimensions of the Tower Bridge. They practiced the jump about 200 times to figure out the exact height to drop from. An amazing, amazing drop there. Look at the views, too, on this GoPro. It's hard to even go away from it, but look at that. Wow. Oh, all right, let's get to Greg there. Follow that up, Greg. Good luck with that.
There's no way to. Plus, I want to know how fast they were going. I mean, that was a real quick entry under there. Taking a look here, we do have the red lights on. I do not want to scare anyone this morning. This is not going to be like last week. Our threat level is as low as it can be when it comes to severe levels, but it's there just enough to where between noon and 6 p.m., we're going to watch the sky for you, and you will see some thunderstorms out there. We do have action on the radar. If you're waking up and going, Greg, it's already raining. Yes, it is, depending upon where you're at. No severe weather this morning at any point. This is weak thunderstorm activity with some decent downpours. Exiting Katie's right now, making its way toward Hopkinsville in about the next 15 minutes, and going to continue to move from west to east throughout this morning. So what does that mean a little more toward the south? Well, Charlotte and Dickson momentarily, you're going to see the rain really pick up here. Charlotte, I'd say about 10-15 minutes. This will make its way into the Nashville area easily between 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock this morning, and it's a quick mover, moving about 45 miles per hour. Now, the speed of the line does not dictate the wind speed when it comes with it, so don't worry. Again, no severe weather this morning, but all the way through 9 a.m., we're tracking showers and storms for you that could slow us down trying to get out the door here this morning. Here's the afternoon. I mentioned between noon and 6. Here's 1 p.m. taking us through the evening hours. Once we get past sunset, things begin to die down, and then we're all good to go overnight tonight. We'll talk threats in a few moments. Just know that tornado is not one of those threats that is on my list this morning.
Steer clear traffic. Let's get you out the door this morning to I-65 at I-24. That's on the north side. As you can see, traffic there moving along very nicely. No big holdups there on that north side this morning. We're doing really nice. If there is anything that gets in your way, we'll be sure to let you know with Steer clear traffic as we're live and local through 9. Well, take a look at this. A lucky fan walked away with 2. People go for years without catching 1. He got 2 in back-to-back swings.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Fox 17 News and the Code Red weather alert. Rain moving in right now. It's an afternoon threat for hail and wind that will time out hour by hour coming up in your forecast.
And now on Fox 17 News This Morning, the search for a killer in the Nashville area. And new this morning, we've learned more about the victim.
For the first time, we are hearing from the family of the woman who was killed in last week's tornado in Murray County. Coming up, I'll tell you how she's being remembered.
Thank you so much for joining us here on a Tuesday morning. For Fox 17 News, I'm Erica Glover.
I'm Jennifer Waddell. Glad to be your live local news source, always here for you through 9 a.m. Kicking off our Tuesday morning, top few headlines you'll want to know about. And we begin with day 2 for testimony when it comes to Michael Cohen and what he has to say regarding former President Donald Trump and their interactions. Just yesterday, Michael Cohen directly implicated Mr. Trump, saying the former president told him to make hush money payments to silence specific stories related to Stormy Daniels.
And happening this morning, Secretary of State Antony Blinken meeting with Ukraine's President Zelensky in Kyiv. It's the first visit by a Biden administration official since funding for Ukraine passed. Blinken is expected to go ahead and reassure Ukraine of continued U.S. support.
You might have seen headlines about this story, the buying rally in stock for video game seller GameStop. It prompted all of the exchanges to freeze sales yesterday. That doesn't happen very often. Private investors betting that the stock would not do well already lost more than $1 billion.
And a breaking news update closer to home. We now know the name of the man shot and killed over in Madison. Police say the 19-year-old Kenneth Buford Jr. was shot in a field off of North Gallatin Pike near McKinley Street just after 3 o'clock yesterday.
Yeah, this is just down the street and across the way from the Lowe's in Madison. To give you a little bit of perspective there, Buford Jr. died at the hospital. Police say the person who shot him likely knew him. So they believe this may have been targeted, but other than that, police don't have much of a description as to who they're looking for. All they've been able to tell us is it's a black man, last seen wearing green sweatpants and a light gray hoodie.
5:02 red lights are on, and we are on a code red weather alert for later today. So what is new this morning as we're waking up? There will be morning showers and thunderstorms on the radar. I'm already tracking a few of them moving into our western counties, inching closer and closer to Nashville and many surrounding areas. This is not going to be severe weather this morning. Afternoon and evening, there is the smallest threat we could possibly have for severe weather. Not even a guarantee we get 1 or 2 strong storms, but we could. If we do, wind and hail threats. Absolutely nothing like last Wednesday and Thursday. This is not trying to scare you away. It's just to alert us that this afternoon could be a little active for storms, and one or two could pack a little bit of wind or some decent sized hail with it. Right now, we're not seeing either of those threats here on top of the radar. Pretty quick moving line of showers and weak thunderstorms, and it'll be in the Nashville area in the next hour or two for sure, which could hamper our morning commute and also getting the kids to school. So I'll keep tracking for you here, but I want to let you know what my thoughts are when it comes to the impact on the roads this morning once it does make its way downtown. We're going to have a few weak thunderstorms. Some pockets of heavy rain could have some limited visibility, no severe weather, but with how much rain we had last week, ponding in areas of just some standing spot flooding can't even be ruled out throughout today. Here are our threats. Again, 6 p.m., I should say noon until 6 p.m. Tornadoes not on my list. Wind, hail, and flooding potential is definitely going to be there, and it's the smallest it can be on the scale when it comes to any major threats. 66 right now, fairly cloudy. Grab the rain gear before you head out. You're going to want it this morning, afternoon, and evening. After sunset, everything dies down for us, and we'll work our way into a calm overnight. Today, 78 degrees this afternoon. Right side of your screen, you're in your 60s. Tomorrow, a few more storms that will definitely be sub-severe, and then we dry out for Thursday.
Thank you, Greg. Steer clear traffic time right now, 5:04. Good morning to you. We've got a live look at downtown Cadiz, Kentucky. Pretty and quiet there this morning. Keeping an eye on the weather over that way. You know, you've heard Greg talking about the storms that are moving in, and this could be one of the spots where we see a little bit of action. Does look like the streets are wet already there, so we'll monitor this for you. And when it comes to steer clear traffic, anything that might pop up as a result. Y'all know what happens around here when it rains. Yeah. Oh. Lightning. Well, glad we held on that shot. There's some lightning off in the distance. So yeah, be safe out there. Give yourself extra time and extra space when you hit the roads. We'll give another check of traffic in about 5 minutes.
Good advice there. New this Tuesday morning, we are now hearing from the family of the woman killed in the Maury County tornado.
Our Fox 17 News reporter Karen Aguilar joining us live from near where that tornado touched down with how that woman's daughter is remembering her.
Good morning. I spoke with her daughter, Brianne Lovett, right where I'm standing, near where her beloved mother, Cheryl Lovett, was killed inside of her home when the tornado ripped through this area, destroying hundreds of homes, including this home you see right here. Her mom's home was blown off and left only with the foundation. Brianne tells me her mom, Cheryl, lived a very charged life and was free-spirited. She tells me Cheryl was a devoted mother and grandmother, and Sunday for Mother's Day was very hard to endure. She tells me Cheryl had worked at Stan's restaurant for 41 years, retiring in hopes of spending more time with her grandbabies, but was killed that very day. Her biggest request is for us to not forget the amazing woman Cheryl was.
Remember my mom. We all can replace all of this. I don't want anybody to ever forget her. She's an unforgettable person, and just pray for our family.
She tells me her mom's funeral is tomorrow morning at Oaks and Nichols Funeral in Columbia. Reporting live in Columbia, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Karen, thank you. And by the way, Maury County schools once again closed today. The parents and teachers, the educators, they all know this, but district leaders say they are going to reopen on Wednesday.
All right. At 5:06 right now, here on this Tuesday morning, we have a 10-year-old from right here in the mid-state still battling for his life in the hospital after the storms last week. We'll tell you how Asher Sullivan's family is getting support from the... Good morning and welcome back into Fox 17 News this morning. We have continuing coverage on the little boy you see behind us here. This is Asher Sullivan. He and his family are from Rutherford County, and Asher got swept into a storm drain when fast-moving floodwaters came through Rutherford County last week.
Asher Sullivan's father, Jimmy Sullivan, Dr. Jimmy Sullivan, sharing some heartbreaking news on social media with a photo right here on your screen of the family holding their little boy's hand. Sullivan's post says that Monday morning doctors told the family that Asher was no longer breathing on his own. But later in the day, doctors did see eye movement. The family is now waiting, praying, they say, for a miracle. Meanwhile, Vanderbilt head coach, the baseball coach Tim Corbin, also giving back to the family. He invited Asher's brother to go ahead and watch a game in the team's dugout. Listen to him right here.
Sport sometimes can bring relief to families and people in times of need, and this is just one of those times.
By the way, Dr. Sullivan, Asher's dad, is the director of Rutherford County Schools, and Rutherford County Schools showing their support for Asher by wearing blue and green, his favorite colors. And as we get any updates from the family or from Vanderbilt Medical Center, we'll be sure to let you know.
Right now, though, international headlines. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says the Biden administration does not believe the war in Gaza is a genocide.
Now, President Biden has faced a lot of scrutiny over his handling of all this, plus over the U.S. support for Israel, which many critics have said is lacking. And then we've got the humanitarian situation in Gaza. Sullivan laying out the administration's view on the war at the White House press briefing, saying that Mr. Biden wants to see Hamas defeated, but knows Palestinian civilians caught in the middle of this war are, and I quote, in hell.
We believe Israel can and must do more to ensure the protection and well-being of innocent civilians. We do not believe what is happening in Gaza is a genocide. We have been firmly on record rejecting that proposition.
Well, the Biden administration is also facing criticism for pausing a shipment of bombs to Israel. Sullivan says the shipment of bombs was paused because the White House does not believe they should be dropped in cities.
Coming up in the Code Red forecast, waking up to some showers and some thunderstorms in a few areas, rolling through Katie's, making its way right toward Hopkinsville now. Clarksville, you're up soon, as well as Dickson. When it arrives in Nashville and how long it lasts for the morning, coming up in your forecast.
And Fox 17 News talking about Katy, showing you this live look over in Katie's, Kentucky, where the showers, they're imminent. We saw some lightning off there in the distance a couple of minutes ago. What you need to know in your steer clear traffic updates throughout 9 o'clock.
And a heads up on a scam right here in the mid-state. Police say what you see right here on your screen is bogus. This is a fake social media.
My footwear, so I went hands-free with Wide Fit Skechers slip-ins. Try Wide Fit Skechers slip-ins.
You're watching Fox 17 WZTV Nashville.
Good morning and welcome in to Fox 17 News this morning. We're glad you're here. It is 5:14 and we have a live look over toward Nissan Stadium. This camera pointing toward the east. We don't see any storm activity here. No lightning lightened up the sky in Nashville, but that's not the case in some of our other north and western communities. We're tracking rain and perhaps some storms that move through today in our code red weather alert. This is not a day to be concerned about tornadoes. Just want you to rest easy on that front. We'll check in with Greg in a couple minutes though and see what we are working with.
A disturbing story now in Operation Crime and Justice. A Wilson County man facing nearly 60 years in prison for sex crimes against 3 children.
All right, so nearly 60 years in prison and he's 50 years old. 50-year-old Pedro Barrera will likely die behind bars after being convicted of charges including child rape and aggravated sexual battery. Those crimes happening between 2017 and 2020 with the victims between the ages of 7 and 9. All 3 of them testified at his trial.
Well, happening right now, cleanup is continuing over at Drakes Creek Park in Hendersonville after last week's storms brought some major flooding to the area. I mean, we saw covered areas completely covered over there.
Yeah, and the devastating part of this story is the fact that they just recovered, cleaned up, and rebuilt after the December tornadoes. Let's take you there live this morning. We have our Fox 17 photojournalist Kevin Mumphrey there on the scene. I know it's dark. It's kind of hard to see the whole park here, but just know that for the most part, a lot of the baseball and softball fields at Drakes Creek Park are still underwater, and Memorial Park still closed right now. A lot of folks have been reaching out to them to ask what can we do to help, and that's what they did after the tornado in December as well. Right now, park reps tell us they are going to schedule cleanup days set to be happening soon. Also worth mentioning, Mary's Magical Place, which is an all needs playground in Hendersonville, is still closed. That is a place where they have special equipment for children with special abilities, but it's also a really big gathering place for all kinds of families with children, you know, with different needs. So Mary's Magical Place still closed. We'll get you updated just as soon as we learn more from Hendersonville.
Right now, though, we are in a code red weather alert, so folks are asking, do they need to be very aware, especially after last week?
Yeah, I really want to stress how this is so different from last week, because the big thing is once the red lights go on, and we had Wednesday and Thursday, things got real rough really quickly. There are some major differences that are much better today. So yes, we're in code red. There could be 1 or 2 strong storms later on this afternoon. Mainly wind and hail if any of them become strong to severe. I'm not worried about tornado outbreaks or widespread severe weather. Spot flooding definitely is possible, though we've had so much rain in the last week that some decent downpours could lead to some rising water. Not like last week, but definitely areas and pockets of it that we'll watch out for. This morning, I want to also stress, is not one of those times of the day we have to worry about. It's going to be noon through about 6 p.m. when the possibility of 1 or 2 stronger storms moves through. Here is Doppler radar. We've been showing you our camera in Cadiz, Kentucky here when we've been talking about steer clear traffic because this is one of the areas where the rain is moving in. Hopkinsville is next momentarily. We'll talk about Pembroke in about 8 minutes or so. Kirkmansville in 15 minutes. This is moving really quickly. Let's go a little bit more down toward the south. And again, no severe weather with this, but some heavy rainfall and some thunder and lightning right over Dickson and Charlotte, moving into Kingston Springs in about 10 minutes. Ashland City in a good 10 to 15 minutes. And then starting to cross the I-65 corridor closer to Nashville in the next half hour to 45 minutes. So let's get back to what we're talking about here when it comes to areas of cleanup. We have Murray County and Columbia seeing a few isolated showers right overhead with some more steady rainfall moving in, unfortunately, in the next half hour. Big picture, we're at a level 1 out of 4 for severe weather, or out of 5, excuse me. We were at a 4 a week ago. That means a much lower threat for severe weather. Again, damaging wind and hail cannot be ruled out between that time frame of noon and 6 p.m. Everything we get before lunchtime, don't worry about. And any shower or weak storm you hear after sunset, don't worry tonight either. 66 degrees right now. We're relatively warm. We're grabbing the rain gear, maybe leaving a little bit early, not raining in the Nashville area yet, but it will be through a good chunk of the morning commute. And we'll look at future track and your 7-day forecast and put together the rest of your week coming up in a few minutes.
Steer clear traffic takes us to Main Street in downtown Cadiz, Kentucky. This is where we've been following the rain and at times lightning making its way through that part of the area. Now, so far, we have not seen any major accidents as a result of this. This is just a little light rain out there that you may have seen on the streets there in Cadiz, Kentucky. But keep in mind, this rain will be moving out here pretty soon. What will it go next? Well, how about Clarksville? That's where we have this live camera here on Whitfield Road in Clarksville. Bone dry are the streets right now, but this particular view could change here as more and more of that rain starts to push in. We're already starting to see the traffic lights sway a little bit as that wind picks up. We'll continue to watch this camera and anything else that can hold you up live through 9.
Justin, thank you. Well, talking about driving, this morning we are talking about transportainment. If you're not familiar with what transportainment is, you have likely seen the party vehicles, the moving bars, the tour buses, whatever you want to call it, transportainment all over downtown Nashville. It's the area that I have circled right behind me here. I know it's difficult to see on the map, but it is this area. Well, we do have an update this Tuesday morning, letting you know that city leaders have now voted to keep them out of downtown from 4 to 6 p.m. So yeah, that's during rush hour. Entertainment business owners, though, not necessarily happy about this move. So this morning, we do want to hear from you, as always. Here's the question over on our Fox Nashville X account. Take a look. Should party buses and transportainment vehicles be allowed to operate during rush hour in Nashville? An overwhelming number of you, 80.4% of you all say no. There's still plenty of time to let us know what you think by going again to our Fox Nashville X account or scanning the QR code that we share throughout our newscast.
It's 5:20. We have an alert and news you can use right now. Watch out for online hoaxes. They're circulating right here in the mid-state right now. Murfreesboro police say a social media post claiming that a child has been found is a fake post. It goes into great detail talking about a young child being found in Rutherford County, claims that police have the child but they don't know who the parents are. Murfreesboro police say there are no cases that match up with this post. So the big question is, why would somebody do this? What would be the motivation here? Police right now trying to track that down, and they're asking anybody who knows anything about how these posts started circulating online to call the number at your screen. That's 615-849-2673. You can take a picture of your screen right there so that you can reference that. Again, give police in Rutherford County a call if you can help them get some closure on this story.
Messages, Morgan & Morgan got my initial offer 10x'd. And I never even got a check. I just got a direct deposit into my bank account. It's so easy.
5:24 is the time. Population growth can mean all kinds of things to your particular city or county. It can mean brand new fire stations for the new houses being built. It can mean brand new schools that have to come online because more kids are moving in. How about wider streets to accommodate the traffic? But here is something that a lot of people don't think about, but is also a need, and that is bigger jails. For years now, Williamson County has been looking for different ways to fund bigger and better jails for their increase in population for both adults and juveniles. But the county mayor says it has now reached a point to where he has come to a very unpopular conclusion.
I want to go on record for this. I know people don't like to hear this, but there's no way to do what we've got to do in the juvenile area and the jail area without a property tax increase. That is, unless we cut funding tremendously, you cannot build that kind of a jail and a juvenile and the things we've got to do, which we're bound by law to do these things.
Well, something else that is jumping up, and that is health care costs for inmates. Wait until you hear how much property tax or taxpayer dollars, period, are going to inmates for their health care. That's all coming up in our 6 a.m. hour.
5:25, we're in a code red weather alert for this afternoon. Very low end threat, but it's there. Wind and hail. Let's talk through future track. And this morning's rain is a non-starter when it comes to stronger storms. Don't worry about that at all. They will definitely impact our drive. We've already seen some lightning, some thunder, and some heavier rainfall through areas like Katie's, Hopkinsville, and Clarksville are up next, as well as Dickson in the next hour, tracking through Nashville. Quick moving line of weak thunderstorms, but it will limit visibility. And with sun not coming up for the next 20 minutes, anything that moves through between now and then going to only make visibility worse. There could be some pockets of standing water as well. Again, morning hours, though, sub-severe across the board. Here's 1 p.m. going into 4 o'clock and taking us through the evening. You see the pockets of yellows mixed in with the red and orange, heavy rainfall. And 1 or 2 of these storms could give us some decent-sized hail or some gusty wind. We're at a category 1 out of 5 for severe weather. It's the lowest category. So to compare it to last week, we were at a category 4. This is not going to be anything widespread, nothing even remotely close to Wednesday into Thursday morning of last week. Things will die down after sunset, and then we're good overnight. So morning looks good. After sunset, we can rest easy, and much calmer tomorrow. A few isolated showers in the morning and a few weaker thunderstorms going through the afternoon on your Wednesday. Not nearly as many of us get rain tomorrow as today. Going into our 5:30 half hour, we're going to take a look at a few things for you. 7-day forecast bounces around with temperatures, and we'll keep tracking actively on the radar as that rain gets closer and closer to Nashville.
Still clear traffic at 5:27. Quick look outside to I-24. This is at Hickory Hollow Parkway in the Antioch area. Traffic out there moving along really nicely. No major holdups in either direction out here so far. We continue to watch the rain, though, push in places like Katie's, Kentucky. That's where the streets now are extremely wet. We have not seen the lightning here as much as we saw a little bit earlier in the morning, so perhaps a lot of that has moved out and perhaps towards the Clarksville area. But we're seeing dry conditions over there in Clarksville, at least for now. We know that can't change. Overall drive time's looking really good. 27 minutes in from Kingston Springs, 53 from Murfreesboro, 25 from Hendersonville.
For the first time, we are hearing from the family of the woman who was killed in last week's tornado in Murray County. Coming up, I'll tell you how she's being remembered.
Also today, Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell gets to lay out the state of the Metro address. We're going to tell you.
Your Code Red station. Alerts, empowers, protects.
Tracking storms, what you'll need to prepare now for the week ahead. Today at 5:30. You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Rain coming down for a few of us and not too far away from downtown Nashville. Our western county is already working through a little lightning, and we are in a code red weather alert. How today compares to last week when it comes to the threats we're facing in your forecast.
Plus, for the first time, we are now hearing from the family of the woman who was killed last week after the deadly tornadoes.
There's that rain in Clarksville this morning. That's Winfield Road. You can see the raindrops hitting the pavement finally. We're going to tell you how this could impact your traffic in a few.
All right, take the umbrella. Thank you so much for waking up with us here on a busy Tuesday morning. For Fox 17 News, I'm Erica Glover.
I'm Jennifer Waddell. All right, we've seen rain both on the radar and visually through our live cameras in Katie's, Kentucky. Clarksville, Tennessee, and you might have noticed it just a moment ago, it's raining in Columbia down in Murray County. And by the way, as we speak about Columbia, the site of the most devastating tornado last week, we've now also confirmed 7 tornadoes in all touched down right here in Middle Tennessee last Wednesday. And now we do have another round of potentially strong storms headed to our area. Now we are in a code red weather alert. This is not because we're concerned about tornadoes. Want to go ahead and get that out of the way, Greg?
Yes. Yeah, so the setup for this one is completely different. So we'll talk about those 3 that we just found out that we have in Lincoln County. The Huntsville National Weather Service went out and surveyed all EF1 strength tornadoes. That puts us to 7 total across the viewing area. Nothing else has changed except for that county adding 2 more confirmed tornadoes. That puts our count here up to 7, 4 of those being an EF1, 1 EF0, 1 EF2, and then the 1 EF3 in Murray County and the Columbia area. We've been watching and monitoring the aftermath here for the last week. 3 things to know today. Number 1, we are in code red. Number 2, morning storms could impact traffic as they get into the Nashville area here in the coming hour. No severe weather this morning. Severe chance this afternoon and evening is absolutely different than last week. This is not going to be a widespread event. Maybe 1 or 2 storms that have some wind or a hail threat with them. I'm not concerned about tornadoes. It more so is just knowing that timeline of noon to 6 p.m. so we can make sure that we're navigating properly and trying to stay indoors when those storms do roll through. Right through Hopkinsville and Clarksville, as we speak, the rain has picked up quite a bit here in the last 10 minutes, even some thunder and some lightning. Continuing off toward the east, I would say Guthrie in about 5-10 minutes, and we continue to see this moving to the east at a fairly decent 45-mile-an-hour clip. What that means is Kingston Springs, you just picked up the thunder, lightning, and decent rainfall. Franklin, you're about 10 minutes out. It's just over in Leapers Fork right now, and this is a little more isolated in nature near the Thompson Thompson Station area as well, moving its way toward Nashville, and this means that by the time we get to 6:30, we're going to see showers and thunderstorms that are all sub-severe moving through. We're going to look at our threat levels and work our way through the hour-by-hour timeline on Future Track. Just know that our code red threat is about as low as it can be, and that time frame again is noon to 6 p.m.
Steer clear traffic takes us out onto Clarksville this morning. That's where we're following the big raindrops dropping there in Clarksville along Whitfield Road. As you make your way through, it's going to look like this through most of the city now as that rain continues to fall out there in that area as it is moved out of Cadiz, Kentucky, now into Montgomery County. And it's not just there either. We mentioned that it's also raining down in other parts south of the city, but now it has made its way into Metro Nashville as well. This is going to be I-40 at Sawyer Brown Road. This is over in the Bellevue area from Highway 70 all the way up to Old Hickory Boulevard there in Bellevue on I-40. The rain has been kicking in. You can see it spraying up as trucks drive by. No major crashes, at least not yet, but things can change. As the morning goes on, we got you covered.
Justin, thank you very much. At 5:34 new this morning, as we see more damage every day from last week's tornadoes, we're also hearing more incredible stories.
Absolutely. And Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar is joining us live in Murray County this Tuesday morning, the site of that EF3 tornado. She spoke with the daughter of a woman who unfortunately died there. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning. Among all this destruction is where I found the woman who died's daughter, Brianne Lovett, who tells me that her mom that lived nearby died inside of her home from last week's tornado, and she's still dealing with that painful loss. She tells me that it was especially hard for her on Mother's Day, and losing her mom will be a hole that will be hard to fill. She tells me that ahead of her mother's funeral tomorrow, she wants us to remember Cheryl Lovett for who she was. She tells me that she was free-spirited, outgoing, and had a witty, blunt personality. She tells me that she was a devoted mother, grandmother, and was loved by so many.
I've talked to so many people that knew my mom that I didn't even know knew my mom. Customers where she worked at stands for 41 years. They loved her. They all loved her. You'd go in and people would come up and say, "Is that cranky old woman your mom?" And I'm like, "Yep, that is her." She'd go up, she'd throw menus down. "What do y'all want to drink?" You know, but that was her. She didn't do it because she was mad. That was her. That's just who she was.
What you just heard were memories of Cheryl, and those are memories that her daughter would like to keep alive. So she is just asking for everyone to keep her in their hearts and prayers as we remember her. Cheryl's funeral is tomorrow at Oaks and Nichols Funeral Home in Columbia. Reporting live in Columbia, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Karen, thank you. And for those of you who either work in Murray County schools or have children there, you know schools are closed again today, but we wanted to just give that public service announcement. They are still trying to get things back together so these kiddos can get back to school, and they hope to be able to do that tomorrow. If that changes, we'll be sure to let you know.
We also want to let you know, happening this morning, Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell is going to deliver his first annual State of the Metro address. So we're going to have some updates, of course. The address is set for 10 o'clock at the fairgrounds here in Nashville, showing you a live look of the Nashville skyline. It's rainy out there. Mayor Freddie O'Connell is expected to go ahead and highlight the work underway to deliver on the recommendations of 3 transition committees.
He's also expected to take a look at some feedback from folks who are living in Nashville about what they think could make the city better. We'll have more on that 61st annual State of the Metro address this afternoon on Fox 17 News at 5:30.
Coming up, Vice President Kamala Harris dropping some profanity during a speech. Why some said they were pretty surprised by that.
A mistake that had college.
Planet Earth. Get severe storm warnings for your area. Download the free Fox 17 Code Red weather app.
Watch Crisis in the Classroom only on Fox 17 News.
.40 our time, taking a look at the forecast here, working our way through the radar, and rain getting closer and closer to Nashville. This line of showers and broken weak thunderstorms moving really quickly for us here this morning, already exiting Cadiz, Kentucky, and the Hopkinsville area, moving more toward the east. Still a few areas of some lightning just to the east of Hopkinsville, but that main push of some decent rainfall has now gotten a lot lighter for you folks. So more off toward the east, we're talking about Liberty 7 minutes, Elkton 4 minutes. And this will continue to track through very, very quickly. Even just the last hour and 40 minutes, we've gone from it not even being in the viewing area to almost getting halfway through Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. Areas like Beech Grove, Ashland City. You get out toward Kingston Springs, the rain is heavy. The lightning down in the Bellevue area, fairly decent this morning as well, keeping that in mind. Scooting down toward the south, wouldn't be surprised if it scoots out of Bellevue, makes its way toward downtown Nashville, the Brentwood area, and even Franklin in the next 15 to 20 minutes. Heavy rainfall, not severe weather. We are in a code red weather alert for noon to 6 p.m. Wind and hail that I'll be talking about in the next check of your forecast. Just know that the morning drive going to be hampered with some showers and storms here for the next couple of hours.
5:41 is your time right now. Taking a live look in steer clear traffic. This is Whitfield Road up in Clarksville. Justin's been keeping an eye on traffic up here, especially because we've seen a bit of a stormy light show.
Yeah, we have, Jen. The lightning has come streaking across this area in the last few minutes up here in Clarksville. So we've seen the heavy raindrops so far. No major traffic tie-ups, though. We'll continue to watch the roads, not just here, but over in the Bellevue area as well. That's where the rain is starting to fall there in Metro Nashville. We're going to get a closer look at things coming up in a few.
Might have just seen a little lightning flash there as well. Justin, thank you. 5:42 right now. Vice President Kamala Harris had some interesting advice at a leadership summit in D.C. This is from a health forum for Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islanders. She had some cuss words while urging young people to break barriers. Here's what she said, and don't worry, we have bleeped part of this out.
We have to know that sometimes people will open the door for you and leave it open. Sometimes they won't. And then you need to kick that door down. Excuse my language.
Okay, traditionally, presidents and vice presidents don't use profanity. I'm sure if you had to think back to the number of times where you've ever heard anything like that, you'd have to really think hard. But apparently it's becoming more accepted. Most instances are behind closed doors or leaked conversations or people who didn't realize they were on a hot mic when in fact they were. But that was part of the speech there. If you want to read more about it, the story is trending right now online.
Just ahead, scammers raking in money from folks hoping to buy a home. How to spot the red flag behavior.
And we're continuing to keep an eye on the damage here locally after last week's storms. Even though Hendersonville did not see a tornado, the flooding there.
From scratch buttermilk biscuit with sausage and egg, signature gravy, or country fried steak. And now enjoy breakfast till noon every day. Hardee's, goodness in the making.
Welcome back. Right now in Operation Crime and Justice, there is new research showing that Americans have lost more than $400 million to scammers targeting buyers looking to purchase their dream home.
We've got an expert now warning about potential home buyers who could fall victim, but the red flags to look out for so you don't. Here's Fox's Shaw Turner with more.
My wife and I, spent a lot of time saving to put a down payment on a house.
But it only took a matter of seconds for scammers to steal all of it from this homeowner and his wife.
Close to $100,000.
Like other victims across the nation, the couple received a realistic-looking email from the bank requesting the wire transfer to complete their home purchase. It even included accurate account information. But when they followed up with the bank later, they learned they had been scammed. And he suspects his emails were hacked.
Some of that stuff was happening outside of, an encrypted system, so they were able to get into emails and jump into that stuff. It was scary for us.
The FBI received more than 2,000 wire fraud complaints per day in 2023, a 10% increase over the year before.
Technology is an incredible way to save time. We no longer have to run across town with paper checks, but at the same time, we need to understand what the weaknesses are.
Real estate consultant Grant Muller tells Fox 31 he has a firm policy when it comes to down payments sent through wire transfers.
Do not send any money unless you've heard from me or had a conversation with me.
Muller says clients should be educated about wire fraud as part of the home purchase process.
We send out wire fraud disclosures and wire fraud warnings in our emails. So we're trying to cover all of the bases. Great title companies will have secured online portals, and they'll use those portals for secure confirmations, secure communications, and that often adds another layer of protection.
This homeowner urges other buyers to rely on person-to-person communication to verify the payment process.
This is people's livelihoods that you're messing with. People spend their whole lives saving to be able to afford a house.
That was Shaw Turner reporting. Happening this Tuesday morning, we're talking about the flooding concerns that are still happening and the cleanup that is continuing over at Drakes Creek Park in Hendersonville after last week's storms.
Drakes Creek, one of the hardest hit parks in Sumner County. It's one of the lower lying. It does run right along Drakes Creek, which is what tends to flood. But Drakes Creek Park on one side has the creek, and on the other side has Old Hickory Lake. So kind of a double whammy. You're taking a live look right now at one of the baseball fields. Good news here, this is the turf field that most of the high schoolers use to play. And that one looks like it's dried out, but there may be damage that we can't see. And that's one of the reasons the Parks and Rec Department has said most of the baseball and softball fields still can't be used right now. This is a beautiful spot where lots of high schoolers play ball locally. It's also the site of a lot of travel ball tournaments. So anyhow, the baseball softball field still closed. Parts of Memorial Park, which is across the street from Drakes Creek, that's still closed as well. That is right along Old Hickory Lake. Places like Mary's Magical Park still closed, but they're doing everything they can to get everybody playing. I do know they made a lot of repairs to the rugby fields. The rugby fields in Hendersonville are good to go.
We do want to check in now, though, because our today's shower is going to impact even more soggy situations in that area.
It'd be real hit and miss because there will be some pockets of some decent rain. It kind of depends if you had a lot of rain before last week and if you kind of missed the boat on some of the heavier rainfall. So we'll call it spot flooding in some areas as possible throughout today because there will be on and off showers and weak storms that do give us a decent amount of rainfall, especially by the end of the week. We'll see about an additional inch or two worth of rain. We are in code red for the possibility of strong storms this afternoon. I would call it a 12 p.m. through 6 p.m. event. And when I say event, I use that word very, very loosely. This is not going to be like last week. I'm not worried about tornadoes, widespread severe thunderstorms. We could have one or two that try to get a little chippy here when it comes to wind or some hail during that time frame. Other than that, run-of-the-mill showers and storms will be on the radar, kind of like this morning. This morning going to give us no indicators for severe weather at any point. We've gone away from the heavier rainfall and the lightning in the Hopkinsville area and Clarksville, even in Dickson. Now we're to steady rainfall. The areas where the lightning and the heavier rainfall are most prevalent, think 24 north and west of the Nashville area. We're seeing quite a bit of action just starting up here for us here. Also 40 taking your way into town. Areas that are the most prevalent with the lightning and rain. Bellevue, for example. We make our way up to Charlotte. We go real close to Nashville here. We're not too far away. I would give it about the next 10 minutes before the rain picks up. You'll notice the lightning off to the west on many of our cameras here throughout this morning. We're to category 1 out of 5 when it comes to severe weather. Lowest category. I'll keep tracking what's on radar for you this morning. It could slow us down just a touch here as we get closer and clear to our peak drive times and getting the kids to school. We'll look at your forecast again momentarily within the next 4 or 5 minutes.
Clear traffic takes us to I-40 at Old Hickory Boulevard. This is over in the Bellevue area. We've heard the thunder just now outside the studios of Fox 17. We've seen the lightning as well rumble over there in Bellevue in the last few seconds here. One street came across. It was so bright, it completely blinded the camera for a few seconds. So if you're traveling out there in West Nashville, just know this rain is going to continue to push its way towards Briley Parkway and eventually into the city here, and it could bring a little bit of a crack and boom with it here. I've been holding on to see if we can see another flash, but maybe it's not coming quite yet. We're also seeing rain falling in places like Clarksville, even though it's starting to taper off up that direction. This is at Whitfield Road. You can see they've already received a nice soaking up there. No words of any crashes or accidents so far. We'll continue to watch things for you live and local through 9.
Justin, thank you. Okay, attention potential home buyers. There is a new study showing the price of homes has jumped nearly 50% over the last 4 years. We're going to tell you what economists say could be behind the rising prices.
I mean, it's a great time to sell, but where are you going to go next? Smoke from wildfires in Canada. Once again,
we denied your claim. I had never had to have a lawyer before. I didn't know where to start. Don't wait. You never want to just deal with the insurance company. I promise you it's not what you deserve.
Welcome back. 5:55 is the time right now. We're showing you a live look. Ooh, well, it's ominous out there, gloomy to start the day.
Not only that, but we're hearing the thunder roll right here in the studio, and that's where this camera view is coming from. We've got a camera mounted right on top of our station in Metro Center along the Cumberland River. So you're seeing the view from our station, and it's looking out toward the Titans practice facility. That's the white dome you see right there. To Erica's point, ominous. We're hearing the thunder roll, expecting some lightning strikes and the rain to come down. So we'll monitor with a live update in minutes.
Right now, though, let's talk about housing prices.
Oh,
there
boy.
was a new report. Oh boy. A new report showing home prices are surging at a faster rate than in previous years. And I know some folks are thinking, really?
I know. And listen, if you're selling and maybe you're downsizing, this is a great time to sell. Housing analytics company Resi Club says that home prices have jumped 47%. Just in the last few years. That surge beats previous increases that we saw in the 1990s and in the 2010s. We've got limited home supply, right? Not very many people are selling because they can't afford to buy because of the higher interest rates.
Yeah, it makes sense. And Realtor.com says available homes dropped 34% from before the pandemic. Buyers are also facing higher mortgage rates. We talk about that, which likely will not decrease until the Federal Reserve begins making those rate cuts.
Let's talk about a story that is going to be reminiscent of last year, because here we go again with the Canadian wildfires and the smoke coming down into the U.S. as a result. Smoke from those fires once again drifting into some of our northern states. Minnesota, for example, right now under an air quality alert. The smoke also has been seen in Montana and Wisconsin. It was about a year ago that the Canadian wildfire smoke drifted down into Middle Tennessee. If you weren't here at the time, we know we have a lot of new folks since last summer, but it created this weird haze here in our area. Greg, I can remember also seeing what we thought was dirty rain.
Oh, yes.
On the cars.
And this is one thing I'm watching a little bit carefully here. We just showed you the places where the smoke is at, upper plains, and this is what it's going to be doing in the next 24 hours or so. You can actually track smoke just based upon wind patterns and how much we know is already in the atmosphere. So right now, nowhere near Middle Tennessee. Next 12, 24 hours, only going to kind of scoot down toward the south, but look at the trajectory here. In a few days, we could be seeing you know, that hazier sky, maybe that orangish color you sometimes get during sunrise and sunset. Not going to be an impact to us here today. Right now, coming back home, it's all about rain and thunder and lightning moving into the Nashville area as we speak. Areas that are seeing steady rainfall right now, Hopkinsville and Clarksville. Areas that are getting the thunder boomers here this morning, right into Nashville. Here we are. We're moments away from the heavy downpours starting. We have the thunder, we have the lightning. No severe weather, but we know what this can do over the next couple hours if it hangs around long enough when it just comes from getting to point A to point B. We are in a 1 out of 5 for our threat level for severe weather later this afternoon, noon through 6 p.m. Not like last week. I can't stress that enough, and I'm going to about almost every 10 minutes that our setup today is nothing like Wednesday into Thursday. It will be an afternoon event, and our categories for strong risks of severe weather, well, we only have wind, hail, and spot flooding. They're about as small as they can be, and I do not have tornado threats on the list for us here today.
Steer clear traffic takes us to I-40 at 46th Avenue on the west side of town. As you can see, traffic there moving along fine, despite the fact we do have some wet streets and at time lightning outside. We'll continue to follow things for you.
Justin, thank you very much. Looking ahead right now, we have continuing coverage on the disappearance and death of college student Riley Strain here in Nashville. We're now hearing from leaders right here in Music City, but also across the country who say they are working to make Music City a safer place.
Surveillance video shows Strain staggering on the street alone and then colliding with a pole. All of that happening after leaving a downtown bar. And Strain later ended up in the Cumberland River. His body discovered 2 weeks later. But now one city leader is looking to permanently hire a group that helps people sober up, providing a tent space downtown with water, phone chargers, and simply somewhere they say not to be left alone and vulnerable.
What kind of emerged is a gray area where someone maybe is asked to leave a bar. They're not so drunk that they need to be taken into police custody or sent to the hospital, but they're not in a space where they're really safe to go home by themselves.
All right, you're hearing from one of our Fox 17 leaders, Jacob Coopin there, and Kelly Avellino, our investigator, looking into all the ways that Music City is aiming for more safety, especially when it comes to our tourist district. That's tonight on Fox 17 News at 9.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Thunder, lightning, and heavy rainfall already moving into the Nashville area. A few of our communities already have seen it. We are in a code red weather alert, but not for right now. We'll work you through this morning, but the afternoon potential for severe weather we'll look at as well.
And now on Fox 17 News this Tuesday morning, the suspect for a fatal shooting still on the run, according to police. We're going to share what they know so far.
For the first time, we are hearing from the family of the woman who was killed in last week's tornado in Murray County. Coming up, I'll tell you how she's remembered.
Thank you so much for joining us for Fox 17 News this morning. I'm Jennifer Waddell. Erica Glover, we've got a breaking news update right now. We've learned the name of the man shot and killed in Madison just yesterday.
Yeah, so we're getting some more updates to our newsroom, including how police say 19-year-old Kenneth Buford Jr. was shot in a field off North Gallatin Pike. That's right near McKinley Street, near Lowe's in Madison, just after 3 o'clock yesterday. Buford Jr. died at the hospital, and police say he was likely shot by someone he knew. Right now, police don't have much of a description, but they do say they're searching for a black male who was last seen wearing green sweatpants and a light gray hoodie. If you want to read more about this story, go on over to fox17.com.
Our forecast here, thunder rolling in many areas, and that includes downtown Nashville momentarily. Areas just to the west of downtown already have that rain coming down. Now, we do have the red lights on. We are in a code red threat level today. It's for this afternoon. This morning, non-severe storms are going to roll through. You will hear the thunder. You will see some lightning and some decent pockets of some rainfall. We'll be tracking into the area, but nothing that gets close to being severe. Afternoon and evening, a few strong storms can't be ruled out. Not widespread, not all day, not all night, not like last week. Only wind and hail threats. This is not to scare you. This is just because it's our first chance getting storms since we had those stronger storms that moved in last week. The heads up. From noon through 6 p.m., watch for quickly changing weather and have ways to get alerts to your phone just in case. Get the Fox 17 Code Red Weather app. Here's the setup for us now. This has been moving real fast here throughout this morning. Already tracking and moving off toward the east here, Russelville. I would call it about 11 minutes for Lewisburg, Russellville, 13, 14, 15 minutes in that ballpark. Rain picks up real fast. You're going to hear the thunder before it gets to you, though. Springfield, light rain. Heavier rainfall in less than 10 minutes. Greenbrier, same deal. Hendersonville within 15 minutes. Let's get down toward Nashville, zoom in a little bit more. You can see these pockets here, Westmead, Belmead, out toward Berry Hill. There are a few lightning strikes close to downtown. Again, this is sub-severe, but it's making its way as we speak into becoming a much heavier rainfall in the Nashville area in the next 10 minutes.
Steer clear traffic for you. Let's get you out and about to the Bellevue area. This is I-40 at Old Hickory Boulevard. As you make that drive in from Bellevue, you can see the wet streets out there after the heaviest of the rain has already pushed through this area and has now made its way over into West Nashville. How do we know that? Because we have cameras there too. This is I-40 at 46th Avenue here in West Nashville in the Nations. As the rain has started to push through here, heard some thunder overhead here in Metro Center, but it is not bothering the drive times, at least not yet. Dickson at 50 minutes, Murfreesboro just over an hour, Franklin 29 minutes in from the south side.
Justin, thank you. 6:03 right now, and this morning we continue to tell the stories of the people so deeply impacted by last week's tornado outbreak. In case you missed it, we now have 7 confirmed tornadoes in the mid-state, the worst in Murray County, where an EF3 killed a woman who was so loved in that community.
And now we're hearing from her family, her daughter. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar joining us live from where this tornado touched down near the area with how her daughter, Karen, is remembering her. Good morning.
Good morning. I spoke with her daughter, Brianne Lovett, right where I'm standing, near where her beloved mother, Cheryl, was killed inside of her home when last week's tornado hit. The tornado ripping through Murray County, destroying countless of homes, including this home that you see right here. Now, Cheryl's home in particular, her daughtor tells me, was blown off and left only with the foundation in sight. She tells me her mom, Cheryl, lived a very charged life and was free-spirited. She tells me Cheryl was a devoted mother and grandmother, and Sunday for Mother's Day was very hard to endure. She tells me Cheryl had worked at Stan's restaurant for 41 years, retiring in hopes of spending more time with her grandbabies, but was killed that very day. Her biggest request is for us to not forget the amazing woman Cheryl was.
Remember my mom. We all can replace all of this. I don't want anybody to ever forget her. She's an unforgettable person, and just pray for our family.
The funeral for Cheryl will be tomorrow morning at Oaks and Nichols Funeral Home in Columbia. Reporting live in Columbia, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you. We also want to mention that Murray County schools closed once again today. We understand the teachers, the students, the bus drivers, they all know that, but schools are set to reopen tomorrow.
All right, and continuing coverage this morning on the Rutherford County boy who was swept into a storm drain last week. Just devastating what his family is going through. We're talking about Asher Sullivan. His dad is Dr. Jimmy Sullivan, the superintendent of Rutherford County Schools. And Dr. Sullivan has been sharing updates on social media. The most recent is a photo of everybody in the family holding Asher's hand. He is still in the hospital. He has severe damage to his lung and has brain damage. Now, doctors told the family that Asher was no longer breathing on his own yesterday, but later in the day, doctors did see some eye movement, so they are hopeful. They are praying for a miracle. We know so many of you watching this morning are praying for this family as well. And Vanderbilt baseball coach Tim Corbin is also helping the family. If you noticed in one of the pictures, Asher was wearing a Vandy baseball hat. Yes. They're big fans. And Coach Corbin invited Asher's brother to come watch some games from the dugout. Coach Corbin saying, listen, life is more than just about baseball, and he saw this as an opportunity to give back to the family.
Well, just ahead here on Fox 17 News.
Taylor, only from the Tennessee Lottery. Game-changing fun.
This Fox 17 This Morning newscast is sponsored by Zander Insurance.
6:09 is the time. Population growth can mean that your city or county could use all kinds of new things. New things like new fire stations to service the new houses that are being built, new schools, and wider streets to accommodate more traffic. But here's something else a lot of people don't think of, and that is bigger jails. For years now, Williamson County has been looking into different ways to find and fund bigger jails for their increased population for both juveniles and adults. However, the county mayor has reached a point just last night where he told the folks listening at their county commission meeting that raising taxes may be the most fastest and easiest way to raise the money that they need for brand new jail expansion. Now, it's a very unpopular decision. Nobody wants to hear about their taxes going up. But the mayor also made this point about health care costs. Listen to how much they spent in health care costs alone.
We spent $800,000 for inmate health care at the last budget meeting.
It's on tonight.
And it's on here tonight. And we can't deny paying these bills for health care to our prisoners. And so that's part of that process. It's not very tasteful.
Now, the mayor also says he will continue to look at other ways besides raising taxes that could help pay for brand new jail expansion. He also says that the city could cut costs in a number of places, but he doesn't know where to find the kind of money they're looking for in order to expand without raising up some of these taxes.
Coming up in your Code Red forecast, rain moving into the Nashville area as we speak. You can see right there. Looking over into East Nashville, you can see the rain actually coming down there just past Nissan Stadium. Thunder and lightning. We're not code red for the morning, but the afternoon could bring a few strong storms. We'll time for you.
We're watching steer clear traffic. The rain is pushing out of the Bellevue area, but as you can see, it has left a wet interstate. We're going to tell you about the impact on the roads coming up in a few. Plus, a Wilson County man is now looking at decades.
You're watching Fox 17 WZTV Nashville. His Fox 17 This Morning newscast is sponsored by Sarah Chevrolet Buick GMC of Nashville.
6:13 is the time, and right now Fox 17 News showing you a live rainy look over by the Batman building of the Cumberland River. You can see the raindrops on the camera there, and we can hear right here in the studio, Jen, the rumbles of thunder.
Yeah, moving in. And we'll track it for you. We don't want you to get caught off guard. That's why we're here for you live through 9 a.m. We'll get you those updates every few minutes so that you can know before you go.
We have a disturbing story now in Operation Crime and Justice. A Wilson County man facing 60 years in prison for child sex crimes against 3 different victims.
And what's unbelievable here, as you're about to hear, is those children testified against him. 50-year-old Pedro Barrera will likely die behind bars after being convicted of those charges, including child rape and aggravated sexual battery. Again, he's 50 years old, sentenced to 60 years in prison. The crimes happening between 2017 and 2019 and 2020. The victims between the ages of 7 and 9. As I mentioned, all 3 of them testified at his trial.
Well, happening right now, we're going to take you over to Hendersonville, where the cleanup is certainly continuing at Drakes Creek Park in Hendersonville after last week's storms. I know earlier this morning we were showing you a live look at what was happening there, and you can see the turf areas that were still a little soggy in different areas.
For sure, soggy. A lot of the baseball and softball fields still are not usable. Mary's Magical Place, playground for children of all abilities in Hendersonville, still closed. We've got portions of Memorial Park still closed. And yes, more rain is on the way. Now, this does not look to be catastrophic type rain, but for the areas that have already been underwater and seen so much already, could be of concern. So let's send it over to our Code Red meteorologist, Greg Bobus, now to find out what we're expecting here for the rest of the morning.
The rest of the morning is going to be on and off heavy rainfall at times. We've had a lot of the lightning and thunder, which sounds well more impressive than it is. It's nothing to worry about here. We are Code Red for the afternoon hours. We've got to make it through this morning first, though. So we'll track you through what's happening now and then work you through noon to 6 p.m. That's the window of opportunity when we could see a strong storm or 2. The thunder is out there. The non-severe thunderstorms are tracking through Nashville as we speak. Pockets of heavy rain will continue, and that means that areas that are finally seeing the water go down from last week could see it come up just a little bit here. We're going to call it spot flooding, meaning the areas that we had concern of a week ago could be the ones we have to watch very carefully. If you didn't have flooding last week, you shouldn't have flooding going to the end of today. Doppler radar everywhere west of I-65 and north of I-40. Some steady, light to moderate rainfall. You get Nashville on north. That's where the heavy rain is coming down right now. Literally right now downtown. Vanderbilt, TSU, Nashville, Berry Hill. You get down All the way through 65, pushing toward Brentwood, we're seeing some decent rainfall. And even toward the east here, you can see a couple of cells there right over I-40 leading toward the airport. Airport dry for right now, but momentarily that rain going to pick up and a little bit of a breeze with it as well. When we talk about our strong storms, noon to 6 p.m., we always look at the big four when it comes to severe weather categories: tornadoes, wind, hail, and flooding. Which one does not have a box? The one we don't want to have a box. Thankfully, tornadoes I'm not worried about. There could be 1 or 2 strong storms during that 6-hour time frame that get strong enough to go severe because of wind or hail. And we'll watch the heavy rainfall for all of us. We are soaked downtown right now, 66 degrees, fairly cloudy, and again, the pockets of heavy rain all around downtown. What does this mean if you are going to the airport or you're picking someone up? 68 at 9 o'clock, 73 at noon, and 77 at 3. Every hour of today will come with the possibility of a shower or storm. That's the kind of weather pattern we've worked our way into. Thankfully, though, not a lot of flight delays right now, only 13 out at BNA. That's good. We'll keep our eyes on flight times as that rain moves through across the airport area. Just know that today, going to be kind of like yesterday when it comes to temperatures. A few clicks warmer, but we'll call it upper 70s. Noon to 6 p.m., we're going to look at on Future Track in the next check of the forecast, because that's going to give us the updated look at noon to 6, and then where that line is going to be as it tracks through. The only dry day the entire week is still looking like it's going to be on Thursday at 82 degrees.
Steer clear traffic takes us to I-40. This is at Spence Lane, just east of downtown. You can see there traffic is moving along pretty well over there on that east side. That is certainly great news, despite the fact the rain is falling and could be causing some issues around the city of Nashville. But so far, we're looking just okay, especially on the interstates. Here's a look here at I-24, Hickory Hollow. Well, the camera was moving here a second ago. It has stopped moving here, but the rain has not started to fall out there in Antioch, at least not yet. But the rain is on the way, as we're seeing here in the East Nashville area as well. Other areas of town include 46th Avenue over on the west side, and the Nation's looking good over here in this area. We do have a report of a fairly serious accident on 51st Avenue near Centennial Boulevard. We're going to get you there coming up in a few minutes.
Justin, thank you. Entertainment news now. Country singer Toby Keith granted an honorary degree from the University of Oklahoma Saturday, 3 months after his death.
Yeah, this morning we've learned that his daughter, Crystal Keith, accepted that degree on behalf of her late father during their graduation ceremonies. The musician died in February at the age of 62 after a battle with stomach cancer. Crystal Keith said her dad was told about the honor, though, before he passed away. Toby Keith, an Oklahoma native, a huge fan of the Sooners football team. All 3 of his children are alumni at that university.
Let's talk about the economy now. A story you might see on social media. A sudden rally in the stock of video game retailer GameStop yesterday has already caused losses of $1 billion for those short selling this particular stock.
All right, bear with us here in case you're not familiar with trading. We're going to walk you through it because, as Erica mentioned, this is a big story in the economy. Trading halted amid the chaos yesterday. Now, short selling, simply put, involves predicting a stock's value will drop below a certain level, and if it stays above that level, then the short seller has to cover the losses, to the point of the $1 billion in losses yesterday. So as the buying surged, the value of GameStop stock did as well, and then that meant big losses. Let's listen.
These are highly risky, highly volatile products, and you need to know what you're doing, otherwise you're likely going to lose money. And we've done examinations around this space, and unfortunately, more often than not, investors are losing money.
Okay, so listen, the sudden rise in buying was likely triggered by an online account that is called Roaring Kitty. That account once encouraged everyday investors to go ahead and leap into the gaming stock, creating a similar situation that happened back in 2021.
Yeah, you might remember this. Right after the pandemic, they suggested on Twitter, or X, that they're probably going to do it again. So buckle up. 6:20 right now. A ruling on the part of Metro government that would keep transportation vehicles off downtown streets during rush hour. What that could mean for our entertainment and tourist district.
And let's talk about sports this Tuesday morning. We're going to have a first look at the NFL schedule and the big rematch that you have to look forward to.
Thanks so much for waking up with us here on Fox 17 News this morning. We know you have a choice every morning, and we appreciate you spending your time with us. Live look.
Love each other. Let's all dance with each other. Let's all celebrate that Crystal is open late night.
This Fox 17 This Morning newscast is sponsored by Ponce Law.
6:23, and the rain is coming down in the Nashville area. Taking a look again from our Metro Center camera. We've gone from almost nothing happening to a gloomy sky with limited visibility, heavy downpours, and now we're into steady light to moderate rainfall just north of Nashville. So where are the areas where we're seeing the decent heavier rain with the lightning and thunder still attached to it? Orlinda down all the way through Rolling Acres, just to the west of Cross Plains, making its way to the east. You can see Greenbrier is getting a little bit better right now, but the White House area also working through some showers and thunderstorms. They're weak storms, but they're there. You've got the thunder, you have the lightning as well. Hendersonville has seen a few little flashes of lightning in the past 10 minutes. And Gallatin, in about 25 minutes from now, this tracks into your area. One more cell exiting downtown itself. Again, Nashville right here on your map, moving its way toward the Donaldson area, and that'll be making its way through in the next few moments as well, and then begin to track along and just to the north of I-40. Mount Juliet in about 26 minutes, rain picks up for you. Bus stops, getting ready to make a lot of our routes here this morning and getting that process going. Rain gear for everyone. Morning and afternoon, the chance for showers and storms will be there. First bell, 65 degrees. Current temps are on the right side of your screen. After school, 76 degrees and a few more storms. We are code red for 1 or 2 strong storms, noon to 6 p.m. That'll be our focal point as we go into our 6:30 half hour.
Steer clear traffic takes us out and about this morning. Let's get to I-24 at Bell Road. We're starting to see the rain falling there in that particular location. Not heavy yet, but just starting to kind of break it in over the last few seconds there in Antioch. So heads up as you make that drive in through the Antioch area. Hickory Hollow, we're doing okay. Here's I-40 at Donaldson Pike. The rain has been falling there for a little bit, and we're starting to see the effects of it as people are hitting a little bit of a stop and go there. No reports of any accidents, but listen, when the rain is falling like this, the accidents can happen literally in seconds. So there could be one in the last few seconds since I've been standing up here that may have developed here. We're going to take a better check into it. Just give yourself an extra 10 minutes at least as you get out and about this morning. So let's talk about some other news that we are following, and that includes in the transportainment business. When we talk about that, we mean anything on wheels having a party downtown, and there's plenty of it, whether or not it's bars or pedal taverns or big tractors, you name it. They are all coming under some scrutiny this morning because of their activity in Lower Broadway. And I say Lower Broadway, I really just mean mainly this area right here between 8th and the river there on Broadway. That is where they want to restrict these particular vehicles from running between the hours of 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. to keep them out of downtown. They say it causes too much of a problem with rush hour traffic. Now, the entertainment business owners not happy with this decision at all. So we're asking you, what do you think? Should party buses and transportainment vehicles be allowed to operate during rush hour in downtown Nashville? So far, everyone seems to be pretty one-sided about this. It's saying no. A lot of you are saying no at an 80-20 vote at this point. 80% voting no, 20% voting yes. If you want to make your voice heard, you can do so by scanning that QR code right there on the side of the screen. You can also just go and check us out on X. Our handle is @Fox Nashville.
Hey, the 2024 NFL schedule is set to be released this week, and so far we know one thing. The Kansas City Chiefs will kick things off September 5th. The first game of the season will be the AFC Championship rematch with the Chiefs and the Ravens. The NFL making that announcement on social media with this picture right here. You've got the quarterbacks Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. The entire NFL schedule will be released tomorrow, and of course we are looking forward to seeing how the Titans schedule shapes up.
See Derrick Henry in purple in that game as well. All right, also coming up, police are trying to figure out who's responsible.
We've been breathing this.
Lots of people don't realize that mold feeds off moisture in their crawl space. But don't worry, we got this.
At AFS, we'll do a home inspection for free.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Waking up to areas of heavy rainfall that have tracked into the Nashville area and taken over a good portion of Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. We're in a code red weather alert for this afternoon. We'll time out another round of storms in your forecast.
And that code red weather alert could make it more difficult for cleanup efforts in Murray County. Damage updates continue to come in. Plus, more neighbors are sharing their stories of the people impacted.
And a Middle Tennessee couple killed in a shootout with police over in Texas. what local authorities there say they were transporting back here to the volunteer state.
Kind of a wild story there. Thanks so much for joining us for Fox 17 News this morning, 6:30 on the dot. I'm Jennifer Waddell.
And I'm Erica Glover. We're going to get started this Tuesday morning with some breaking news out of the nations. That's over in Nashville's West Nashville area. That's where Metro Police have confirmed they are on the scene of a crash.
All right, mapping it out here for you. This is the intersection of 51st Avenue North at Centennial Boulevard. We understand, according to police, that a car has crashed into a building and 2 people have been taken to the hospital. Now, as Erica mentioned, this is in the Nations. This is a neighborhood north of I-40 and west of Nashville. We've got a crew on the way right now. We'll bring you live updates just as soon as they get there.
We are in a code red weather alert, so we do want to check in with our meteorologist because some folks are hearing rumbles of thunder. They're already seeing the showers coming down.
That we are. We're talking about still the aftermath of last week, but now what this rain this morning, I'm going to show you momentarily, means for all the cleanup from now our 7 reports of tornadoes. We've got a few more confirmations here from Lincoln County. The Huntsville National Weather Service went out there and did some more surveying yesterday. We now have 3 EF1s in Lincoln County, and EF0 in Rutherford County, and EF2 in Prospect, and EF3 in the Columbia area, and an EF1 in Robertson County. That puts us to 7. 4 of those again being an EF1, and then the EF3, of course, in Maury County. We've been following for you for the better part of almost the last week. We're in code red weather for noon to 6 p.m. Morning storms, impact on traffic. Yeah, I'm guessing that's going to continue to be a thing for us here this morning, and heavy rainfall coming down as well. Severe chance will be this afternoon and this evening. Current look at the radar, which we're going to spend about every 5 minutes zooming into for you here this half hour. We've got the rain all the way up the I-65 corridor, but I want to show you where it goes and how quickly it exits. By 9 a.m., we're relatively done with this first batch. A few lingering showers or weak storms on the backside of this initial push that makes its way toward the Cumberland Plateau. Then the afternoon, things fire back up after 12 o'clock and pull their way in noon all the way through about 4 o'clock. See the reds, the oranges? They indicate isolated but potentially strong thunderstorms. Nothing like last week. I need to stress that we are in code red. There could be 1 or 2 storms that are a little stronger for wind or hail, but we're not expecting widespread activity, and I'm not expecting a tornado threat this afternoon.
Let's get to steer clear traffic. We are dealing with the aftermath of a crash here at I-40 at Church Street in the heart of downtown Nashville. The good news is that you can see that car, or maybe you can't, the leftovers of it getting pushed up there to the north side of your screen. It's off screen now, but at one point it did have a 1 lane shut down there in the heart of downtown. So hopefully now things are moving on and all lanes have reopened in that area. Let's get you out to I-24. This is at Hickory Hollow Parkway where light rain is falling. Nowhere close to the same impact that we're seeing downtown. Drive times about normal, even though we're picking up new situations all the time. We'll bring you the very latest coming up in a few minutes.
Justin, thank you. At 6:33 right now, new this morning, we just mentioned moments ago that the storms today are going to impact cleanup efforts after last week's tornadoes. And as those efforts continue, one family is preparing a funeral for their mom who died in the Maury County tornado.
Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar is joining us live from where this tornado touched down with how her daughter is now remembering her mother. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning. And the whole community is mourning after the devastating loss of Cheryl Lovett and the devastating loss of all the homes. You can see even behind me that the community is rebuilding this construction company, literally picking up the pieces. But who's suffering the most is Cheryl Lovett's family. They are picking up the pieces emotionally. And among this destruction right here to my left is where I found Cheryl Lovett's daughter, Brianne Lovett, still dealing with the painful loss of her mother. She tells me that Mother's Day was especially hard for her to bear, and losing her mom is a hole that might never be fixed. She tells me that ahead of her mother's funeral, she wants her mom Cheryl to be remembered for who she was. She tells me that she had an outgoing personality, was free-spirited, and had a witty but blunt way of saying things. She tells me that she was a devoted mother, grandmother, and loved by so many.
I've talked to so many people that knew my mom that I didn't even know knew my mom. Customers where she worked at Stan's for 41 years. And they loved her. They all loved her. You'd go in and people would come up and say, "Is that cranky old woman your mom?" And I'm like, "Yep, that is her." She'd go up, she'd throw menus down. "What do y'all want to drink?" You know, but that was her. She didn't do it because she was mad. That was her. That's just who she was.
That was just one of the many memories that Cheryl was remembered for, and her daughter tells me that there are many more memories that need to be shared in order to keep her memory alive. Cheryl's funeral will be tomorrow at Oaks and Nichols Funeral Home in Columbia. Reporting live in Columbia, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
All right, Karen, thank you. We could see those crews working behind her, even though the rain has been falling there this morning in Murray County. Karen, thanks.
Now, a Putnam County couple we're talking about, we know understand is dead after a shootout with police in Texas. This is just a bizarre story.
It really is. So let's go to Putnam County, where the sheriff's office says they found drugs and guns in Elizabeth and Edward Stevenson's home back on May 9th. Now, in case you're new to the area, Putnam County is over on the plateau. All right, so investigators find drugs in their house May 9th. Well, at the time of the search, detectives got a tip that the Stevensons were driving through Texas, so they had left the house. We're told deputies in Texas tried to stop the Stevensons, who drove miles before shooting at deputies. Both of them died in that shootout.
Authorities in Texas say they found more than $3 million worth of cocaine in the Stevensons' vehicle, all of which appear to be coming back here to Middle Tennessee.
What a wild story. We've got that one posted at fox17.com if you want to read more in depth. And still to come this morning on Fox 17 News, a boost for Ukraine as the Secretary of State meets with President Zelensky. We'll tell you what they've decided.
And independent presidential candidate
instantly went away. My wife said, "You're a different person." She thought that was good.
Injured? Call America's largest injury law firm, Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
6:39 is the time, and Fox 17 News continuing to update this breaking news story in the health world. Ascension St. Thomas still working to resolve a massive cybersecurity breach. A spokesperson telling Fox 17 News that the unusual activity was first detected last week. Ascension says right now, hospitals and medical clinics in their network, they cannot access the electronic medical records, the phone systems, or the software that is necessary to order tests, complete procedures, and then get those medications to patients. Well, they also say they're working now with the FBI and local law enforcement trying to get their systems back online. There is no word on the time frame for that yet, but as you can imagine, there are patients right here in Middle Tennessee that hope there is a resolution as soon as possible. Right now, though, let's check it.
A look at the forecast for you here this morning. Here we are at 6:40. We have some rain moving in. What has changed in the last hour is the scope in terms of how strong the rain is. It's actually died down quite a bit. We've seen a lot of the reds and oranges get off the map for us here. We're back to green and yellow, meaning light to moderate rainfall. Still fairly consistent. Hopkinsville out through Clarksville, Dickson. The Nashville area itself has got a little bit of a gap in the rain, but it'll pick back up. Taking a look at Gallatin is a place we're watching. You can still see a decent downpour moving in momentarily within the next few minutes. So just note that it won't last that long. These showers are moving very quickly. No lightning indicated in that area. One thing to watch out for, please, hydroplaning. The faster you go, the worse it gets. Taking a look here. Slower speeds, more road contact. Less water gets back underneath the tire when you're driving. Slow and steady wins the race in this case. The faster you go, the more water gets underneath your tires. And if you're going at fast rate speeds here, that's when the tires actually get lifted off the ground, and that's when we start seeing some real big issues out there. Keep it as slow and steady as you can, and just allow a lot of extra room this morning. We should all be in a much better place that way.
Steer clear traffic at 641. Quick look outside here at Briley Parkway. This is very close to Opry Mills Drive, not too far away from Opryland there. As a matter of fact, the parking lot to Opryland is over on the right-hand side of the screen. We've got the Nashville Fire Department on scene now with an accident that is square in the middle of Briley Parkway. It is causing some slight delays back behind it. You can get around it. Just give yourself some extra time if you know you got to get from, say, Donaldson towards Madison. If you know you got to make your way there, Hermitage, Donaldson towards Skyline Medical Center, which is this is the route I would take if I was going to go that way. Just know you're going to give yourself an extra few minutes to make that happen. We just picked up a new one. This is going to be 24 Ellington Parkway. Fender bender on the side of the road, not causing that big of a problem until authorities get there. Then when they do, that is when traffic can slow down even more.
National headlines here this morning. Independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and his campaign are suing Facebook parent company Meta. And that news comes as RFK Jr. will be in Nashville tomorrow.
Now, they are accusing Meta of election interference after a digital video was briefly blocked on Meta platforms. The video features conversations with Kennedy meant to inform viewers about him while pushing back on criticisms of his particular candidacy. Now, a Meta spokesperson spoke with the New York Times that the link has been incorrectly flagged as spam and mistakenly blocked, but they claim this issue was fixed within a few hours.
Yeah, I mean, just the latest, though, in a series of claims similar to that. Meta has not responded to a request for comment. And I mentioned a moment ago, RFK Jr. will be in Nashville tomorrow. Funny enough, I guess you could say, he's hosting a comedy night at the Ryman Auditorium, which is going to raise money for his campaign.
That's one way to do it. 6:43, quick look at your steer clear traffic as well as your Fox 17 News code red weather alert outside as the rain is pushing in, but this is not the reason for the code red. Greg will tell you about another threat in the weather department coming up soon.
Demolition in Baltimore sends the remaining span.
Tonight at 7 on Fox 17.
This Fox 17 This Morning newscast is sponsored by Matthews Nissan.
Welcome back to Fox 17 News this morning. It is 6:45 happening now. Dickson police are investigating the death of a man found on the side of a highway.
Well, police say the man's body was found on Beasley Drive near Highway 48 early Sunday morning. We're mapping it out for you right here, so do take a look. They believe the victim was walking along the road sometime overnight when he was involved in a possible crash. But the name or the age of the victim right now has not been released. Dickson police, though, are asking anyone who drove on Beasley Drive near Highway 48 from 8 p.m. Saturday to 8 a.m. Sunday to go ahead and give them a call. We do have the number and more information at fox17.com.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Ukraine today. He flew to the capital of Kyiv to meet with President Volodymyr Zelensky. The State Department says this trip is to reassure Ukrainian leaders that they have America's support in the war with Russia.
This visit comes after Congress did approve a $60 billion aid package for Ukraine.
Here we are nearly 2 months after a ship hit the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Maryland, and crews are demolishing a key portion of that bridge.
It comes as the Coast Guard estimates the port's permanent channel could reopen this month.
Fox's Jared Halpern with more this morning.
Crews in Baltimore using controlled explosions to break apart of a massive portion of the collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge on Monday. The 500-foot-long span sits on top of a cargo ship that crashed into a support column in March, killing 6 construction workers. The vessel's 21-member crew remains on board during demolition.
They are necessary to keep the ship safe and operational. If something were to happen, they are in the best place to actually fight a fire on board the ship.
The Port of Baltimore has been closed to most maritime traffic since the accident. Coast Guard officials say after demolition, they plan to refloat and remove the cargo ship in about 2 days, with the goal of fully reopening the port's permanent channel by the end of the month.
There were some who, when we were here weeks ago, looked at the complexity of this operation and said, this is going to take months. We've been able to get it done in a matter of weeks.
In the weeks after the bridge collapsed, the federal government approved $60 million in emergency funding, but there are still questions about who should pay for rebuilding efforts. Last month, a group of lawmakers unveiled legislation to make sure Maryland taxpayers are not on the hook for some of the construction cost.
Those responsible and those insurance claims will help to make sure the federal taxpayer gets the relief from those responsible.
The House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure holds a hearing Wednesday about the response to the collapse. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Jared, thank you. We are in a code red weather alert. Greg, a lot of folks are wondering about the timeline if they're just now waking up with us. Is the severe weather threat going to be this morning, this afternoon, evening?
It'll be noon to 6 p.m. That's the window to watch. After sunset, we're okay. We can go to sleep. We have nothing to worry about. And even this morning, it's inconvenient, to say the least, but what we have going on right now is not anywhere near severe weather and not going to be. And I also want to really preface this by saying that our potential for severe weather today could not be more night and day compared to last week. We're not talking about a widespread event happening here. We're not talking about a tornado threat, just 1 or 2 storms during that 6-hour window that could be on the strong side due to wind gusts that pick up to severe thunderstorm status or the possibility of some hail. Most of what happens is not going to be severe, and it's not, again, going to be widespread. Just so we know the difference week to week. Taking a look, Doppler radar, things have calmed down even in the last 45 minutes. 45 minutes to an hour ago, we had some decent weak thunderstorms rocking through the area, pulled through Nashville, a lot of thunder and lightning. Now we're just back to some more run-of-the-mill rainfall for everyone north of I-40 and west of 65, seeing the best chance for that rain coming down right now. A few showers just moving into the Gallatin area as we speak. So this is going to be the last little pocket of some decent downpour activity that we have for now. We'll see a few more of these small cells pop up throughout the morning. It really will be the afternoon that we have to contend with. We got the wet pavement everywhere, though. 66 degrees right now. Current temperatures right side of your screen, even during commercial breaks, all the way through 9 o'clock. We'll become your only live and local news source at 7, and that's when I always get new updates to our future track models, to what we could see this afternoon. First additional thoughts here now that the sun has come up. As far as today goes, we'll call it 78 degrees. Tomorrow, not a code red day, and a few showers and storms, not as many as today for your Wednesday. 82 and dry on Thursday.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
A time-lapse look at a funnel cloud over northern Amarillo during dicey weather Sunday afternoon. It was close to touching the ground, but appears there was no contact. The storm clouds kept swirling after the funnel disappeared. Here's another time-lapse of a thunderstorm rolling ashore in Mobile Bay and bolts of lightning during a recent storm over Panama City, Florida.
Listen to Off the Radar. New episodes every Tuesday.
Steer clear traffic. Want to show you this crash happening on Broadley Parkway here, very close to the Opry Mills area. We are seeing a big problem as they have now stopped traffic entirely there on Briley in the last few seconds. You can see the last couple of cars coming across there. We are dealing with a crash that has shut down Briley because they want to move the crash from one side of the interstate to the other. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. They typically do this when the crash was located square here in the middle. They've stopped traffic because they would like to move it from here over to the shoulder where they have a lot more room to operate. I think you see them in the process of doing that right now. So as soon as they're finished with that, all lanes of Briley can reopen and traffic can resume flowing there. Until they do, I would suggest a detour, but in all honesty, just wait. Give yourself a few extra minutes. This will clear itself up here in the next few minutes. Don't get off here at Opry Mills because there's nowhere to go if you do that.
It's a mess out there. Justin, thank you. We have now continuing coverage on the disappearance and death of college student Riley Strain.
Yeah, Riley, a student at the University of Missouri here in Nashville with a group of friends for the weekend where he lost his life. And now people in Nashville and across the country are stepping up, saying that more needs to be done to keep Music City safe. In fact, the weekend that Riley Strain was here and then disappeared, we have surveillance video that showed him staggering through the streets of Nashville alone. He ran into a pole after leaving a downtown bar and then later somehow ended up in the Cumberland River. His body found 2 weeks later.
But now one city leader is looking to permanently hire a group that helps people sober up. He says they would provide a tent space downtown with water and phone chargers and simply somewhere not to be left alone and vulnerable. Listen.
What kind of emerged is a gray area where someone maybe is asked to leave a bar. They're not so drunk that they need to be taken into police custody or sent to the hospital, but they're not in a space where they're really safe to go home by themselves.
Well, Fox 17 News' investigative reporter Kelly Avellino is digging into all the ways Music City is aiming for better safety of many of its visitors downtown. Do not miss this story. It airs tonight on Fox 17 News at 9.
The world's most famous groundhog has 2 new babies. We're going to meet Punxsutawney Phil's prodigy and find out their names.
And a roadblock for families searching for answers. Why victims' rights
to substantial compensation. Call Hughes & Coleman, 800-800-4600. You don't pay us anything unless we get money for you.
Welcome back. This Memorial Day could be one of the busiest for travel in the last 2 decades. Get ready, buckle up.
I'm driving somewhere. So, okay, AAA estimating 43.8 million people are going to be going at least 50 miles, traveling that is, during Memorial Day weekend, which is right around the corner this month. That would make this year's holiday the second busiest Memorial Day, Jen, get this, in 20 years.
That's wild. AAA also taking a look at spring break, breaking records. They're projecting that when it comes to Memorial Day, which, kind of still falls in that spring break window, if you will, projecting Memorial Day to have 38.4 million drivers. That's the highest since they first started tracking information in the year 2000. So they say if you have somewhere to go on Memorial Day weekend, try to drive before 11 a.m. the Thursday before Memorial Day and after 7 p.m. On Monday.
Oh, I'm up and at it like at 5 a.m.
Wait, are you coming to work?
Oh, I'm working. Don't worry. I'll be here.
She said, I'm skipping out. See you later.
Forget about it.
Bye-bye.
Taking a look here. Nothing big happening downtown anymore. We had a couple of showers that had some rumbles of thunder about an hour ago. Now we've got a little low on the rain for most of Nashville, but a few more showers will work in this morning into early afternoon. We are in code red for the afternoon hours, not for anything that's happening this morning. So this morning is just going to slow us down, but it's not going to get in our way when it comes to any dangerous weather. Taking a look, our outlook for today. Category 1, all the way down on the scale to the left side. What that means is comparing this week to last week when it comes to our severe weather threat today compared to Wednesday and Thursday of last week. Last week was a Category 4. That was widespread tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, flash flooding. Not the case this time around. Noon to 6 p.m., the chance for a few storms that could get strong in terms of hail and wind, and that's pretty much it. No tornado threat that I'm seeing right now. Flooding. You could have some spot flooding in a few spots that had the standing water last week, but the majority of us, again, just navigating through a few showers and storms that will be on the radar for us during the afternoon hours. I'll have a brand new look at future track for you, and that timing, hour by hour, tracking those storms into and out of the area as we go into our 7 o'clock half hour.
Steer clear traffic right now, just a couple of minutes before 7 o'clock, and we do have a crash on Briley Parkway this morning, right near Opry Mills Mall. Now, you can see if you look up toward the top of your screen, the first responders in that far right lane. The good news is more traffic is getting by now than what we saw earlier, but this would be traffic, for example, coming from the airport in closer toward I-65. All right, this is not traffic backed up going to the airport. If you're heading toward the airport on Briley Parkway, you're looking okay. You can see a little bit of a brake check as people may be rubbernecking coming through this Opry Mills area. We'll check in again on this at the top of our 7 o'clock hour and get another look at the rest of your steer clear traffic.
Now, I always listen to our Code Red meteorologist, okay, here at Fox 17 News, but some of y'all like to listen to famed weather forecaster and groundhog Punxsutawney Phil, and now he's going to have some extra company when he hibernates this winter.
Y'all listening to a furry rodent. Come on now.
Oh.
But we know that Punxsutawney is now a proud parent. The human handlers, you can see them dressed to the nines to announce that Phil and Phyllis, stop, that's his lady friend, had a couple of babies.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Now on this 12th of May in the town of Punxsutawney, the news is not about the weather, spring air or winter's chill. No, today the first family of groundhogs has grown. Punxsutawney Phil and wife Phyllis have 2 kits of their own. Born to royalty, a boy and a girl. Names have been chosen to share with the world. Welcome with us as we say hello to little girl Sunny and a boy Shadow.
Wow. By the way, the 2 young groundhogs will not be participating in the annual festivities because there's only one Punxsutawney Phil.
I like their names. That's cute. Sunny and Shadow. All right, 7 o'clock hour starts right now. Don't go anywhere. We're your live local news source through 9 a.m.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Waking up bottom right-hand side of your screen with some rain that has moved into the Nashville area. We're going to track more showers this morning, but we are in a code red weather alert for thunderstorms this afternoon. How great the threat is coming up in your forecast.
And now on Fox 17 News this Tuesday morning, remembering the woman killed in last week's tornadoes. We're now hearing from her daughter.
And Fox 17 News with an update on the little boy who is still in the hospital after being swept into a storm drain in Rutherford County during those same storms. We're going to hear directly from his family.
We have a lot to get to, but do want to start by saying thank you for joining us here on a Tuesday morning. For Fox 17 News, I'm Erica Glover.
And I'm Jennifer Waddell. Glad to be your live local news source through 9 a.m. Do want to get you updated on all of our local headlines headlines, one of which the tornado count from last week has gone up again. We now know 7 tornadoes touched down last week. 2 new EF1 tornadoes confirmed in Lincoln County. And now today, as you might have noticed, we are in a code red weather alert for some more storms on the way.
We're going to head straight on over to our Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist, Greg Bobus, on the timeline, what we can expect. A lot of folks are really anxious whenever we get this Code Red alert.
And that is why we're in alert mode right now, not to scare and not to even cause that anxiety, just to let you know this is not like it was last week when we had these 7 confirmed tornadoes that touched down. 4 now of them were EF1s, and then of course the EF3 been following very carefully the aftermath in Murray County. Today will not be like that. We are not going to have any severe weather that indicates any tornado threats. Strong storms are possible, but 1 or 2 of them are more likely than anything else here. We're talking about wind and hail. Not going to be an outbreak of severe weather like we had last week. Maybe some spot flooding though in an area or two, because we had so much water buildup that it's still trying to recede. Areas that get some decent showers that last a long time that were flooding. Think Robertson County and Sumner County. We could have some areas that flare back up a little bit today. Not much lightning out there right now, and honestly all of our heavier downpours have died down, but pockets of rain will continue throughout the morning hours. What does this mean as far as getting out the door? You're going to be using the windshield wipers. You're going to want the rain jacket, the umbrella, and the rain boots for this one all day. There'll be a chance for a shower or a storm out there. Temperatures for us out the door this morning starting off in the 50s and 60s across the board, on our way to the 70s later this afternoon. We'll call Nashville itself 66 degrees in the next hour, up to 69 by 10 o'clock. We're going to work you through on Future Track the next 12 hours. Our severe threat, the timeline, noon to 6 p.m. We're going to see that the next time you see me.
All right, everyone, let's get to your steer clear traffic out there. We're going to go ahead and get you the very latest happening on I-65 at Concord Road. This is coming in from the Brentwood area. Have a crash there on the shoulder, causing slight delays there for Brentwood PD and TDOT, who have gotten out there on the scene, shutting down 1 lane. You want to try to take Franklin Pike as the best way to steer clear, coming up there from the south side of town. This is just after, in this case, before Old Hickory Boulevard as you make that drive in. Let's show you what's happening there in Donaldson on Riley Parkway as you make your way from Donaldson towards Madison. In this case, we do have a crash that's shutting off 1 lane. You can get by, just some slight slowdowns for sure. Here are your overall drive times for you right now. 50 minutes coming in from Dickson, 85 minutes coming in right now from Murfreesboro, 40 minutes coming in from Franklin. That crash there in Brentwood is part of that drive. Remember, give yourself extra time as the rain continues to fall.
Justin, thank you. Right now, we do want to get on over to continuing coverage on the Rutherford County 10-year-old swept into a storm drain by rushing water last week.
This is the story of Asher Sullivan, who you see behind us here. His dad is the Rutherford County Schools Director, Jimmy Sullivan. And Dr. Sullivan says that doctors at Vanderbilt have told them that Asher cannot breathe on his own. But we also know that they did see some eye movement. In addition to those updates, we also know from the family that he has severe damage to his lungs and also has brain damage. So the Sullivan family praying for a miracle. And so is the rest of the mid-state. Take a look here. These are pictures from Rutherford County Schools. All the sweet faces dressed in Asher's favorite colors, blue and green. We're also sharing the story in regards to the family and the support they've seen on behalf of the Vanderbilt Commodores, the Vandy Boys, the baseball team. We'll be sharing more of that story through 9 a.m.
Also this Tuesday morning, we are now hearing from the family of the woman killed when an EF3 tornado hit her Murray County home last week, the same week she was set to retire.
Fox 17 News reporter Karen Aguilar joining us live this morning near where that tornado touched down. Karen, we've been seeing a lot of crews behind you working still to clear things out. And at the same time, we're hearing remarkable stories about this woman's impact on her community.
Exactly. Her daughter, Brianne Lovett, tells me that she is a woman to be remembered and doesn't want her memory to get lost. She wants to keep it alive. Her daughter, Brianna Lovett, was standing just in this area yesterday near where her beloved mother, Cheryl, was killed inside of her home from that tornado that hit last week and ripped through her home, killing her instantly. She tells me that Mother's Day was especially hard for her, and it's going to be a hole that's going to be very hard to fill. And moving forward ahead of her mother's funeral, she wants us to remember Cheryl for exactly who she was. She says that she was an outgoing person. She had a witty personality and at sometimes very blunt. She tells me that she was also a devoted mother and grandmother. She says that Cheryl had worked at Stan's restaurant for 41 years, retiring in hopes of spending more time with her grandbabies, but was killed that very day. Her biggest request is for us to not forget the amazing woman Cheryl was.
Remember my mom. We all can replace all of this. I don't want anybody to ever forget her. She's an unforgettable person, and just pray for our family.
Cheryl's funeral will be tomorrow morning at Oaks and Nichols Funeral Home in Columbia. Reporting live in Columbia, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Karen, thank you. Nashville tourism leaders say there's less and less people coming to the city this year than last year, but they also claim there's no reason to worry.
We're going to tell you why something called revenge tourism may be coming to an end. Plus, we're following breaking news right now from the nations. A couple of different live looks showing you top left, downtown Nashville, bottom right, steer clear traffic.
Oyster in their crawl space. But don't worry, we got this.
At AFS, we'll do a home inspection for free.
This Fox 17 This Morning newscast is sponsored by Tennessee Home Buyers.
7:10 is the time here on this Tuesday morning. That's a stormy look outside from our LNC camera across the Cumberland River over into East and South Nashville. Greg Bobus will be along to give us the latest update in your Code Red weather alert that's going to bring more than just the storms you're already seeing this morning. Well, the number of tourists coming to the city of Nashville is slowing down in recent months. That's according to the most recent numbers from the city of Nashville. They say there are slightly less hotel rooms being sold this year versus last year, slightly less passengers on flights to Nashville International Airport. Now, it does not mean people don't love us anymore and people don't want to come see us. It just means the era of what they're calling revenge tourism is coming to an end. Now, what is revenge tourism, you may ask? Here's an explanation.
It's slowing down some. For the last couple of years, we've seen what was coined globally as revenge tourism. Everyone came out strong, traveled, 3-4 trips a year, 5 trips a year after COVID. And now with the economy, with inflation, things are tightening up. People aren't traveling as much. So we're seeing it, and you see it in those numbers too. With the occupancy, it's starting to slow down, normalize. I mean, Nashville's still strong, very strong destination.
Just not as strong as we were last year. City leaders also say they've received a few phone calls over the past few weeks. They are calls from cities in Canada who also have hockey teams. What do they want to know? How do you put on one of those watch parties like the one we have here in Nashville? That's what they want to know. City leaders say they always got a chuckle when they got one of those calls from teams in Canada. A Fox 17 News update. We now know the name of a teenager killed in an ATV crash that happened Saturday night in Nashville. Metro Police say it happened in Darbytown. That's just off of North Nashville there on Dickerson Pike. They say 2 14-year-old girls were on that ATV when it crashed into an SUV. Both teens were taken to the hospital. They say Melanie Mozelda later died. We're told that neither girl was wearing a helmet at the time. The driver of the SUV was not hurt.
And coming up in the current forecast, we're working our way through some showers right now. We had thunderstorms about 2 hours ago. Those storms have quickly weakened. Now we'll talk about the possibility of some stronger storms this afternoon. We're in a code red weather alert.
We continue to follow your steer clear traffic as you get out the door at 65 at Concord Road down in Brentwood. You can see police on the scene. We're going to tell you the best ways to steer clear of this, plus a push to make Nashville a little safer.
With a view. Your window treatments should be as inspiring as your home and the remarkable routine of your daily life. 3-day blinds.
Right now, Fox 17 News, we are following breaking news out of the nations. That is a neighborhood over in Nashville.
Metro Police say a car crashed into a restaurant early this morning, happening at 51st Avenue North and Centennial Boulevard. And that is where we find Fox 17 News reporter Peyton Muse with this live breaking news update.
Yeah, good morning, Jen and Erica. So I just spoke with police a little bit ago, and they did tell us 2 people were involved in this crash. One person, both were sent to the hospital. One of them has life-threatening injuries. As far as how this happened or why this happened, police are still investigating. And right now, 51st Avenue North and Centennial, down Centennial Boulevard, by the Centennial Bar and Restaurant is blocked off, and they're going to have this blocked off until they are done working through trying to figure out what happened here. And once they get that car towed out of here, police did tell me that it should be packed up. But again, we're not exactly too sure what caused the crash, why this happened, but what we know is 2 people were involved in the crash, and one of them is facing life-threatening injuries. We're going to work to get you more information, and as we get that, we'll be sure to bring that to you guys live in the nation's Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Oh, Peyton, thank you. Well, after 2 weeks of extensive searching, the body of University of Missouri student Riley Strain was pulled from the Cumberland River. Strain went missing from a Broadway bar after he was escorted out for drinking too much.
His next path, though, would be his last, and that is what we have seen in part on surveillance video from downtown. But now people in Nashville and beyond are taking action to help make Music City a safer place.
Fox 17 News' investigative reporter Kelly Avellino joining us with safety changes on the horizon for Nashville. Kelly, what can you share with us?
Well, guys, a lot is in the works right now after 22-year-old Riley Strain left Luke Bryan's bar alone. His friends, we know, did not follow. What happens next is unclear, but we know it's disturbing. Surveillance video shows Strain staggering on the street alone as he is seen near a bridge by the Cumberland River. That's about the last place he was seen. Metro Police saying Strain's death was likely accidental, believing he fell into the water. Riley's family believing foul play could have been at hand here. Now, we're still waiting for the results of an autopsy to determine the cause and manner of his death. But now one city leader is looking to permanently bring on a nonprofit group that helps people sober up. The Red Frogs organization would provide a tent space downtown with water, chargers for your phone, simply somewhere not to be left alone vulnerable.
If you kick someone out of a bar, you point them down the street, you say, hey, that's the Red Frog tent, we need you to go over there, or they can flag a Red Frog person down to come take someone's.
And there's also a push for a law in Riley's name, a new law, as well as a long list of safety changes to the river area and potential changes to how bars in Nashville handle intoxicated people downtown. Now, we're not talking the people who need to get a ride to the hospital or people who need to be arrested. We're talking the many others who simply shouldn't be left alone after they have had too much to drink. Tonight at 9, I'm looking into all the ways you might see changes here in Music City. I'm Kelly Avellino for Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
7:18, taking a look here. We're on a Code Red weather alert because our next weather maker is a fairly stormy pattern for the rest of this afternoon. Noon through 6 p.m. is our window of opportunity to possibly see 1 or 2 strong storms. We're not worried about a widespread event like we had last week. I need to keep emphasizing that so we know we're not getting a repeat performance. But a few morning storms we've already had have now gone down to regular rainfall for right now. We'll see 1 or 2 more weak storms this morning. Severe chance is this evening or this afternoon through this evening. I would say by sunset we're good to go, and then we'll cancel our Code Red. A few more showers and storms tomorrow, but not a chance for strong weather. Taking a look top the radar for us right now, we're starting to see a few more decent downpours fire here west of the Tennessee River. So we're going to keep our eyes out on those. But right now, what's happening across Middle Tennessee, tiny little pop-up showers that have a little bit of heavy rainfall with them. Most of those are off toward the east and southeast of the Nashville area, one right over Mount Juliet. All this is heading to the north and to the east. So Lebanon here, I would say in a good, 5-10 minutes, you'll see the rain pick back up. These little pockets will track through the area, a few of them dying down as they move through, but that'll be the story here for us. Nashville relatively dry right now, but a nice lighter rain shower making its way through the Berry Hill, Oak Hill area up toward downtown once again, so that rain will take over the radar for a few minutes, then die down again. That's the story for the rest of this morning. By 9 a.m., just these little sporadic showers for almost all of us. And then here's the afternoon. Remember I mentioned noon through 6? Here we go, 1 p.m. to 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock takes us through sunset. That's our chance. Now, what do we face? Possible damaging wind, possible hail with it. Not looking at a tornado threat, and our flood threat looks very low. Just a few spots that had standing water last week could end up with some standing water by the end of today.
Steer clear traffic takes us out to I-65 at Concord Road in Brentwood. That's where we continue to deal with that crash there on the shoulder of the road. You can get by making that drive in from Franklin and from Brentwood. Good news for you, even though things are going to be slower than you may want to see out there for your Tuesday morning. It's about a 40-minute trip in from Franklin right now. We continue to follow that crash coming in from the Opryland area. This is very close to Opry Mills. At one point, we had 3 lanes closed down. Now we're down to 1, and emergency crews continue to leave the scene. Hopefully they can clear it soon. Give yourself extra time. I'm not going to give you a way to steer clear of this. You don't need one. Just give yourself an extra 10 to 15 minutes. You'll be fine.
All right, Justin, thank you. 7:21 right now. Operation Crime and Justice. A Wilson County man faces 60 years in prison for child sex crimes against 3 different victims.
50-year-old Pedro Barrera, right here on your screen, was convicted of charges that include child rape and aggravated sexual battery. The crimes happened between 2017 and 2020 with victims between 7 and 9 years old. All 3 victims, very disturbing here, testified during his trial.
A Middle Tennessee couple killed in a shootout with police in
base sets. Plus, get a $300 instant gift with select sets and 50 months, no interest, no down payment. The Memorial Day mattress sale now at American Signature Furniture.
Right now, Fox 17 News following breaking news out of the nations. That's a neighborhood in Nashville where Metro Police say a car crashed into a restaurant early this morning. We're mapping it out. We want to get right on over to Fox 17 News' Peyton Muse. She is joining us live out there with another update.
Redialing in. Hey guys, yeah, so we're here right on Centennial Boulevard and we got a little update from police. A man and a woman were both inside of the car here. The woman was driving down Centennial Boulevard around 4:45 this morning when she crashed and hit a sign. Then she hit a dumpster. Kevin's not going to be able to show you because right now there's a tow truck in the way. And once she hit the dumpster, she then hit the side of the building at Centennial here. They're both in the hospital. The female was driving the car. She's in critical condition. The male is stable, and that's all that we know so far. And again, this road is blocked off here on Centennial Boulevard by 51st Avenue North in the Nations. It will open up once police get the vehicle out of the way. Again, the female was driving the car. She's in critical condition at Vandy, and the man that was in the passenger seat, he is stable, but also at Vandy. Reporting live in the Nation's Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
7:25, focusing in on our Code Red forecast for today and taking a look at the active radar scene. These initial showers and weak thunderstorms that tracked through over the last 3-4 hours moved in very quickly, and now they have almost halted. Now, there's still rain out there, but it's definitely not moving as quickly as it was a little while ago. So we'll keep putting tracks on it, but nothing that is all that heavy. Our thunder and lightning have gone away for now. Everything is dying down just a touch. Strong to severe storms are possible between noon and 6 p.m. Taking a look downtown, we're going to stay fairly cloudy for this one. Not a whole lot of sunshine. There'll be a few sunny breaks, we'll call them, here and there. Severe weather outlook, Category 1 out of 5. Smallest on the scale. Last week, for reference point, was a 4 out of 5. We had widespread activity. Today, 1 or 2 stronger storms because of wind or hail cannot be ruled out. And we'll watch out for any rising water levels, too. We're still dealing with receding water from all of last week's flash flooding. We'll find those areas and make sure we glue our eyes to those just to make sure nothing begins to creep back up. This is your time frame when 1 or 2 of those storms could become a little on the strong to severe side.
Steer clear traffic at 7:26. Quick look here at I-24 at Old Hickory Boulevard. This is in the Whites Creek Jolton area. Just picked up this crash a short time ago. TDOT is now there dealing with that. A couple of vehicles off to the side. Looks like they may have collided, kind of sideswiped each other there on the road. But you can get by. They've opened up both lanes there. You just have to slow down as you pass by it. Coming in, you can try to take Clarksville Pike, Whites Creek Pike. Good ways to steer clear. 65 at Concord Road in Brentwood, also dealing with the crash in that area. Franklin Road, the best way to steer clear of that.
Operation Crime and Justice right now, kind of a wild story that started here in Middle Tennessee and ends in Texas. Let's set the scene here for you. This all started in Putnam County, which is over on the plateau east of Nashville. Investigators there found drugs and guns in the home of Elizabeth and Edward Stevenson. That was on May 9th. Now, at the time of the search, detectives got a tip that the Stevensons were driving through Texas. Well, we're told that deputies in Texas tried to stop the Stevensons, who drove miles before finally coming to a stop, then firing at deputies. The two died in that shootout with deputies.
Authorities say they found more than $3 million worth of cocaine in the Stevens vehicles. They say that cocaine was coming back here to Middle Tennessee.
At 7:28 right now, we're keeping you updated in our Code Red weather alert so that you are aware and prepared for what's coming today. We are not concerned about the risk for tornadoes today, but could see some.
It leaves a lasting impression. Plan your trip at charlottesgotalot.com.
This Fox 17 This Morning newscast is sponsored by Ponce Law. You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
Showers on the radar for us here. Not everyone has seen rain so far this morning, but those of us who have, we've got some ponding going on in a few areas. And for this afternoon, we have gone into a Code Red weather alert. We'll compare last week to today and work ourselves through the timeline when we can see a strong storm or two.
And more stories emerging after the deadly mid-state tornadoes last week. Fox 17 News, we're getting some more information about the woman killed in Murray County, hearing from her daughter.
Steer clear traffic takes us to I-24 at Old Hickory Boulevard. This is in Whites Creek and Jolton, northwest of town. I'm going to tell you the best way to steer clear and why this could hold you up coming down from Pleasant View and beyond.
Thank you so much for waking up with us here on a Tuesday morning. For Fox 17 News, I'm Erica Glover.
And I'm Jennifer Waddell. We are your only live local news source through 9 a.m. And we begin this half hour with the latest update in our Code Red weather alert.
And right now, what we're seeing on radar is not the reason. There's no cause for concern for us to be talking about Code Red right now. This is for the afternoon hours. Honestly, not even much thunder or lightning left there on the map. 3 hours ago, we had quite a bit of it, and it rolled right through the Nashville area. Now, Nashville itself, not seeing a whole lot of rain. This is very light. When the color on the radar gets to this type of green, that very light, almost greenish blue color, that means it's just light, steady rainfall, tracking due east, northeast here. So Old Hickory, Mount Juliet here in the next little bit could see a few showers tracked. You've already had some rain, but we're not quite done yet here for the morning. In some areas that have not seen it really getting much lighter here or stop at all this morning since it rolled in. Hopkinsville all the way down through Clarksville, all the way up and down 24 crossing the state line, or some areas where we're still seeing some decent rainfall. Taking a look, another batch though moving in, brewing just to the west of the Tennessee River, going to make its way across it and into Camden within the next 15-20 minutes. That's the heaviest batch of rain we're seeing, where there still is a little bit of thunder and lightning. Here's how much rain we put down overnight: a few tenths of an inch to a half of an inch in the green shaded areas. Nothing too heavy in the areas where we had flash flooding, thankfully, from last week. But looking ahead, noon to 6 p.m. I'm looking at it on Future Track, and we'll talk about the threats we face and why we're in a Code Red weather alert.
Steer clear traffic for you. Let's get out to I-24 at Old Hickory Boulevard. This is down in the Whites Creek and Jolton area, north and west of downtown Nashville. We're down to one lane here because of a crash. This is a two-car crash. You can't see them here because the TDOT deploying at least two trucks out there, one here, the other one back here, to try to get people to move over. So what can you do about it? Well, it's 73 minutes overall on that drive coming down from Clarksville into downtown Nashville, and that slowdown, you can see it there from Old Hickory Boulevard, backing all the way back through Whites Creek Pike, all the way further back towards New Hope and Pleasant View. You could try to take Whites Creek Pike here as the best way to steer clear. Looks like Clarksville Pike's got a problem of its own as you make that drive in. Just give yourself extra time coming down from the northwest side of town.
Justin, thank you. At 7:33 right now, we are following breaking news out of the Nations. This is a community west of Nashville and just north of I-40. That's where Metro Police confirm, and we've seen with our own eyes, a car that crashed into a restaurant this morning.
The area behind you, though, Peyton, is changing just in the last couple of minutes. So what can you tell us right now?
Yeah, good morning, Jen and Erica. So far, they moved the car. A tow truck came, got it out of the way. They opened up Centennial Boulevard, both from 51st Avenue North and South. But you can see right here, I'm going to have Kevin zoom in. There's a sign. So what police tell us is that a woman was driving in the car with a male passenger. They hit the sign. And once they hit the sign here on Centennial Boulevard, they then hit the dumpster. And then the car hit the side of the building here at the Centennial. It's a bar and a restaurant, a pretty popular bar and restaurant here in the Nations. And their car, obviously, again, hit the side of the building. The woman is in critical condition at Vanderbilt, and the male passenger also he's not in critical condition, but he is in the hospital right now at Vanderbilt. And this is all that we know so far. We don't know why or why they hit the sign or what led up to that, but unfortunately a female driver, she's in critical condition at Vanderbilt, and a male passenger, non-life-threatening injuries, but is also in the hospital at Vanderbilt, and that's what we know so far. If there's any other updates, we'll be sure to bring that to you guys. Reporting live in the Nation's Peyton News, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Karen, Peyton, thank you very much. As the Mid-State cleans up and starts to rebuild from the Wednesday tornadoes, we are learning more about the families impacted.
Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar is joining us live over in Murray County after speaking with a family talking about their mother. Hi there, Karen.
Hi there. Her daughter, Brianna Lovett, tells me that the best way to help their family during this tough time is to keep her mother, Cheryl Lovett's memory alive.
When it hit me, it's just you hit your knees and you ask God why. You have no answers.
Brianne Lovett is still grappling with the loss of her mom, Cheryl Lovett, returning to the same area where she was killed inside her home in last week's tornado.
It's unreal. I was on the back porch. You don't think it's ever going to happen. I'm like, oh, we're just going to get some winds, you know what I mean?
Coming to terms with losing her own home in the tornado, but losing her mom is a hole that might never be filled.
Especially on Mother's Day. Yesterday was a very, very, very hard day. A house can be replaced. Family can't be.
She tells me she was a devoted mother, grandmother, and friend to those who loved her here at Stan's Restaurant, where she worked for 41 years, retiring the same day she was killed.
I've talked to so many people that knew my mom that I didn't even know knew my mom. Customers where she worked at Stan's for 41 years. They loved her. They all loved her.
Her hopes of spending more time with her grandbabies and family shattered in an instant. She tells me what she wants is for Cheryl to be remembered ahead of her funeral tomorrow for who she was.
She was an amazing person. She got to go out not long ago. I've heard a lot of good stories. She was just a fun person. Everybody loved her. Just remember my mom. We all can replace all of this. I don't want anybody to ever forget her. She's an unforgettable person, and just pray for our family.
Cheryl's funeral will be tomorrow morning at Oaks and Nichols Funeral Home in Columbia. Reporting live in Columbia, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Karen, thank you. Right now, Fox 17 News showing you a live look from New York City. Former President Donald Trump is going to be back in the courtroom today. But did the prosecution's star witness make a difference? Going to have some more updates after the break.
Plus, let's all dance with each other. Let's all celebrate that Crystal is open late night.
This Fox 17 This Morning newscast is sponsored by Southeast Financial Credit Union.
Fox 17 News, we were following breaking news updates from New York City. That is where former President Donald Trump returns to the courtroom today for his criminal hush money trial. And right now, we're taking a live look at the courthouse in Manhattan. That's what you're seeing right here on your screen. Now, Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, is going to return to the stand for day 2 of his testimony. Yesterday, Cohen told the jury that hush money payments were used as a way to silence women on Trump's behalf, and that Cohen took out home equity line of credit to make those payments. Trump, by the way, has pleaded not guilty to 34 felony counts of falsifying business records.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how day 2 shapes up, Erica. I know he said yesterday, too, working for the Trump organization was, quote, fantastic and an amazing experience. So really interesting there. All right, we'll be watching that live for you through 9+. Right now, going to get you the weather story, kind of the Cliff Notes version, as I like to call it. Greg is working on a couple of other weather details for you in our Code Red weather alert. But just what you'll want to know for today, 3 headlines. Strong storms are possible. We are not concerned with tornadoes for today. Mainly wind and hail, and some spot flash flooding could be possible. Especially think about the areas that just flooded less than a week ago. All right, so we'll monitor those developments for you and check in with Greg in just a few minutes.
Steer clear traffic is giving us a bit of an issue on the south side of town. We just picked this up a short time ago. Look at this car. It's in a tough situation here at I-440 at I-65. This is on the south side as you approach 65. Let's say you were coming from the Belmont area towards, or Green Hills, towards I-65. That is where you're going to run into this, and hopefully you don't literally run into it. Hopefully you just go past it, because it's still sitting out in the middle of the road a little bit. Give yourself some extra time. You could try Thompson Lane, places like that as a way to steer clear. But in all honesty, they got to get that off the road, and they will at some point. Here's 24 at Old Hickory Boulevard and Whites Creek. As you make that drive down from the north and west side, you can try to take Whites Creek Pike or Clarksville Pike to steer clear, because this is causing you a bit of a delay.
Nashville's most famous detective went to Washington.
And you get a lifetime guarantee. Relax.
Budget breaks. Breaks starting at just $100.
Relaxing.
Fox 17 News Farrier Files is sponsored by Bart Durham Injury Law.
It's a mid-state mystery getting national attention. Lauren Agee died under strange circumstances at Center Hill Lake nearly a decade ago.
And this week, nationally known detective Sheila Wysocki, Agee's family, and other victims' families are in Washington, D.C. fighting for more rights.
Fox 17 News' Dennis Ferrier has the story in this morning's Ferrier Files.
You know, it seems like Congress is always in gridlock, but can you get something done for victims? Nashville's most famous detective went to Washington with at least hope.
When the FBI closed the Lauren Agee case, this after the DeKalb County Sheriff's Department called her death accidental, that she somehow defied the laws of physics and gravity and fell into Center Hill Lake. Her mom, Sherry Smith, was disappointed. It would not be the end of her disappointment. Private investigator Sheila Wysocki.
The FBI looked at the case. Sherry Smith sent the FBI a FOIA request, which is a Freedom of Information. They sent back a letter saying, it will be 79 months before you're gonna get these files. She'll wait 7 years. So she said, go ahead. And then she got a letter saying it'll be $500.
This has absolutely rubbed all victims' rights groups the wrong way. If you close the case, if you're finished with it, why not just turn it over?
Whose interests are they looking out for with those rules?
That's a great question. Who are they looking out for? It's not the victim's family. It's not the community. The community wants to know too. It is somebody who doesn't want that information out there. That's the cold, hard facts.
And so Sheila Wysocki brought victims from 4 different states. Remember, she is a nationally known detective. People who have suffered unsolved cases and botched justice. And then this group met with Congress members and U.S. senators to tell their story. Not only does the FBI hold files too long, they say, but homicide victims just don't have enough rights. The killers have plenty, but the victims? Wysocki says Congressman Scott DeJarlais has agreed to help, that his office will look at rewriting the Homicide Victims' Rights Bill to make sure it actually does what it promises to do, and even more. Not the only good news. The family says Congressman Mark Green has agreed to look into the family's complaint about FBI policy. That alone made it worth the trip for Lauren Agee's parents. We were hoping to discover what, if anything, Congressman Green discovers, but a spokesman says, unfortunately, this can't happen. Quote, Representative Mark Green's office does everything in its power to help constituents that come to us for casework help with the federal government. We cannot discuss individual casework with the press. We also cannot get involved in legal matters, unquote. Wysocki says it's worth this difficult and expensive trip, that while Washington is full of lobbyists and special interests, she wants to advocate for ordinary people. You can call it lobbying or just call it doing the right thing.
Someone who has a death in their family that is suspicious, treat them with respect. They've gone through the proper channels, done everything properly, and we're at our last stage of what is proper. We're asking them hat in hand. We're not there to berate, to accuse. We're asking for help.
Of course, we're going to stay in touch with Wysocki and the Agee family to see if they get any traction with the FBI or the Homicide Victims Act. Those were the two things that they were doing in a timely fashion. We didn't even get into the Homicide Victims Act. That's a law, and no one even knows about. So there's a law that's saying if you're a homicide victim and the FBI investigates after 3 years, cold case, you can have someone else look at it. But there's no mechanism. Who's someone else?
To implement it.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's the other? Who's going to look at it? It's just
Yeah.
like this law that kind of goes off into the ether. But the FBI holding, think about that. The case is closed. They're saying it's done. There's no foul play. We're done. And then saying, we'll give it to you in 7 years. Why 7 years?
Why wait that long?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we have our suspicions, right? Why 7 years? Because they don't want anybody checking their work.
And I'm thinking about how this bill could potentially impact so many families who want those answers desperately.
We have hundreds, if not thousands, of unsolved.
And by the way, if you want to read up on the Lauren Agee story, it is riveting. I would encourage you to do it. You can search Lauren Agee at fox17.com. You can see all of Dennis's previous reporting. You can find out about the podcast involving Sheila Wysocki.
Fantastic.
Really incredible stuff there. So Dennis, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Fox 17 News Farrier Files is sponsored by Bart Durham Injury Law.
7:50, looking at our forecast here. Red lights are on. We're in a code red weather alert, but I want to spell out exactly why and how it's not like last week. Last week was tough. We had widespread thunderstorms and tornado warnings. This time around, we might have one or two stronger storms this afternoon, and I'm only worried about hail and potential strong wind. I'm not worried about tornadoes. This is not a high-end threat like we saw almost a week ago from today, but it is a code red day. Any potential for severe weather, we go into that red alert mode just to make sure we know we're all okay by the time that time frame makes its way here. This morning, we've been watching the Nashville area. We've cleaned out. Now, I popped outside a few moments ago. It is a little humid, and it's definitely still overcast and a lot of standing water. Keep that in mind. Hopkinsville down through Clarksville, still seeing some decent rain right in the Clarksville area. That has not let up for us for about 2-3 hours so far this morning. And now we're watching what's going to end up being part of the main event way later today. Afternoon, literally, after 12 o'clock through 6 p.m., showers and storms begin to fire right along the Tennessee River, and they'll make their way toward the east. These are very weak. These are not severe, only just a few lightning strikes really, but the heavier rainfall picking back up, making its way into Camden as we speak, and will continue off to the east. Please mind your speed on the roads today. We already have water that's standing. We're going to get more of it throughout the day. Don't be that person that's trying to fly through areas of standing water and starts hydroplaning. We don't need any of that today. The slower you go, the more road contact you're going to have, and give everyone ahead of you a little extra room today. Just make sure we're all getting from point A to point B as easily as we can.
Steer clear traffic takes us out to I-440 at I-65. So a short time ago, we were following a scene very close to this where there was one car kind of hanging out halfway on the shoulder, halfway in the lane. TDOT has gotten there, and what they have done is kind of put themselves in harm's way to make sure that car has a barrier. As a result, though, it's kind of slow traffic back behind it down. So if you're trying to make your way from, say, Green Hills over to I-65, this is going to be part of your struggle as you try to get towards that I-65 junction. Give yourself 10, 15 extra minutes. If not, you can take Woodmont Boulevard to Thompson Lane. Okay. Those of you in that area know that can be its own struggle. So we'll continue to watch things for you.
Just ahead, why party buses downtown are facing restrictions to the hours of their operations.
And as we get into our 8 o'clock hour, we will continue updating you on the breaking news in the nations. This is west of downtown Nashville, where a car crashed into the Centennial building.
Your window treatments should be as inspiring as your home and the remarkable routine of your daily life. 3-day blinds.
Welcome back. This morning we're talking more about transportainment vehicles. You likely seen them, down here in this area, Lower Broadway. The tour buses, the party buses, whatever you want to call them. We have a lot of names. There, hot tubs?
Tractors.
I remember that, yeah.
You name it, party barges. Nashville city leaders have now voted overnight to keep them out of downtown Nashville from 4 until 6 p.m. Yes, during rush hour. And got to tell you, a lot of these business owners are not happy about that decision.
So we're also asking y'all on social media. We want to hear from you as always. Should party buses and transportainment vehicles be allowed to operate during Nashville's rush hour? As of right now, 79.9% of you all say no, they should not be allowed to operate. If you want to get involved, let us know what you think. Head on over to our Fox Nashville X account. You can always scan the QR code that we have conveniently located right here on your screen.
Today is National Buttermilk Biscuit Day. Of course, a Southern staple, especially here in Tennessee. Question, do you prefer your biscuit with butter and jelly or gravy? If you had to pick, jelly or gravy?
Jelly, baby.
I'm going biscuits and gravy all the way. Greg, we're going to send it over to Greg to talk about the weather, but which do you go? Do you go biscuits and gravy? Do you go biscuits and jam?
Jam's not my jam. But gravy is gravy, baby. Gravy all the way for it. I'm 100% biscuits and gravy. A good, pepper gravy, please. 78 degrees temperature later on today. We are in code red. We have some rain out there this morning. That is not rain to worry about. It could slow us down. It's been slowing us down, but that's not have any cause for concern. This afternoon, noon through 6 p.m., that's the chance for us to see 1 or 2 stronger thunderstorms. We're not talking like last Wednesday and Thursday when we had the outbreak that lasted a good 36 hours. That's not the case this time around. Wind and hail are the 2 things I'm watching out for. I'm also watching a lot of lawns that have not been taken care of in the last 2 weeks. Good luck today and tomorrow. Not going to be able to. The lone dry day between now and the end of the weekend, Thursday. That's your day to go ahead and try to get out there if the grass is at least not too wet to do it. Taking a look at the weekend, isolated storms for Saturday and Sunday. I've lowered the chance on Saturday compared to yesterday when I was looking at things, so that's good news. Isolated in nature, temperatures middle 80s, a little humidity, but no washouts. Highs will be back in the 80s. Just keep that in mind for the upcoming weekend. Grabbing some rain gear, but not necessarily canceling your plans. Now we're going to go to our 8 o'clock hour soon. When we do, 7-day forecast and a new look at future track, timing out that possibility of storms this afternoon.
Steer clear traffic at 7:58. Quick look here at I-440 and I-65. That is where things are slow because of a crash there on the shoulder. Can't see it here on the cameras, but trust, it's there and is causing a bit of a backup. You can try Woodmont Boulevard if you would like, Thompson Lane in that area to try and steer clear. Also dealing with this crash on I-24 near Old Hickory Boulevard coming down from the Whites Creek and Jolton area. Crash is slowing things down to 1 lane as you make that drive down from Pleasant View. You can try Whites Creek Pike or Clarksville Pike is the best way to steer clear.
All right, in your community now, Cool Springs Galleria and Franklin may be getting a major revamp. Yeah, the city of Franklin says the proposed plan includes new stores, restaurants, hotels, and apartments. So we're kind of giving you a layout right here behind me. The new project, though, was proposed by Nashville-based firm called Reagan Smith. They're also part of the development for the new Nissan Stadium and the Nashville Yards project. Hey, stay with us, though. Our 8 o'clock hour is starting right now.
You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
We had a fairly active morning a few hours ago in the Nashville area. Thunder and lightning may have woken you up a little before sunrise. Bottom right-hand side of your screen, the rain has moved out of Nashville for now. We're in a code red weather alert for this afternoon. We'll start talking about that in just a few moments.
1 week ago tomorrow, an EF3 tornado hit Murray County. We are there live this morning with cleanup efforts and the details on one funeral that is planned for tomorrow.
Steer clear traffic takes us to I-24 at Old Hickory Boulevard and Whites Creek. Down to 1 lane coming down from the north and west side of town. We're going to tell you the best ways to deal with it, plus an overall look at your drive times from across the city.
Thank you so much for joining us here on a busy Tuesday morning for Fox 17 News. I'm Erica Glover.
I'm Jennifer Waddell. Glad to be your only live local news source. Always here for you through 9 when those other stations go to their national network programming. That's pre-recorded, but we are live and local for you.
This Tuesday morning, we now know 7 tornadoes touched down in the mid-state during last week's deadly outbreak. 2 new EF1 tornadoes, though, have been confirmed over in Lincoln County.
And now we've got more storms on the way for today. No tornado concerns, so want to go ahead and get that out of the way. but we could see some more flooding, especially in areas that have already seen a lot of rain. Let's get to the latest track on that forecast right now with Code Red meteorologist Greg Bovis.
Let's get right to it and how it's going to be different than last week. Last Wednesday into Thursday, we had seven tornadoes that were confirmed in the viewing area. We don't even have a tornado threat today, but we are in code red for wind and hail. Nashville radar has gotten a little bit better right in the Nashville area itself. We're picking up some showers and weak storms right along the Tennessee River, starting to make their way into Middle Tennessee, and just a few little pop-ups here that keep flaring up and dying down in our northeastern counties. Nothing that can really track right now because it's stalled almost to the point to where it's not gotten out of Clarksville in the last 3 hours. So we're seeing this little bit of a lull right here. Severe weather outlook, though, we're going to keep watching out for this. And I believe this is a brand new update as of a minute ago. I showed this map about 5 minutes ago, and we always get our Storm Prediction Center outlooks at 8 o'clock. We did not have yellow on here earlier. So our wind and hail threat, this is in real time, you're working along with you, has probably gone up a touch. So I'm going to look at a few new things. I always get a new look at future track this hour as well. I'll see you back here in about 5 minutes with the updates to why our map has potentially increased our chance for wind and hail this afternoon.
Steer clear traffic. Let's get you to I-24 at Old Hickory Boulevard, making that drive down from the Whites Creek and Jolton area. We do have a crash there, shutting down one lane. The fire department is there, so is Metro Police. And this is you sitting in traffic if you're coming down from Pleasant View into downtown at this particular moment in time. What you want to do is try to take Whites Creek Pike or Clarksville Pike. It's the best way to steer clear. It'll get you past some of this a little bit faster, perhaps, because the backup goes back in considerable ways. All right, let's take a look at overall drive time, 75 minutes. It's an hour and 15 minutes from Clarksville, an hour and 12 minutes from Murfreesboro, 55 minutes coming down from Mount Juliet.
We're following breaking news right now out of the Nations. It's a neighborhood over in Nashville. This is where Metro Police say a car crashed into a restaurant early this morning.
Fox 17 News reporter Peyton Muse is there live right now. She's at the corner of 51st and Centennial Boulevard.
Yeah, that's right, Jen and Erica. So police did tell us that a woman who was driving the car, she's in critical condition at Vanderbilt, and the passenger, a male, he is also in the hospital, but non-critical injuries. Now, I want to show you and walk you through what exactly happened here. This is what police tell us. Now, we're going to have Kevin, our photojournalist, zoom in on the sign right there. Now, police say around 4:45 this morning, the woman driving the car was driving down Centennial Boulevard. She hit the sign, then she hit the dumpster. And I'm going to make sure Kevin can zoom in. You can see how banged up that dumpster is. And then once she hit that dumpster, she then hit the side of the Centennial. It's a bar and restaurant. A tow truck came out here earlier, took the car out of the way. And that's what we know so far. Why this happened, we're not sure, but as soon as we get that information, we'll be sure to bring that to you guys. Reporting live in the Nations, Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Peyton, thank you very much. Right now, a funeral is planned. We know it's going to happen tomorrow in Murray County, where friends and family will say goodbye to a woman killed when the EF3 tornado touched down last Wednesday.
Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar is joining us live this Tuesday morning with some more updates from the family.
Good morning. You can see behind me that crews are cleaning up the debris left from last week's tornado. The tornado here in Murray County impacting dozens of lives, and one family in particular, the Lovetts, suffering the most after that tornado claimed the life of Cheryl Lovett. And yesterday, right here down the road, I spoke to her daughter, Brianne Lovett, who tells me that she is devastated not to have her mom by her side, especially with Mother's Day that just passed. And what she wants for her family is for everyone to remember her mother for who she was. She tells me that Cheryl lived a very full life, was free-spirited, and had a witty, blunt personality. She tells me Cheryl was a devoted mother and grandmother. She tells me Cheryl had worked at Stan's restaurant for 41 years, retiring in hopes of spending more time with her grandbabies, but was killed that very day. Her biggest request is for us not to forget the amazing woman Cheryl was.
Remember my mom. We all can replace all of this. I don't want anybody to ever forget her. She's an unforgettable person, and just pray for our family.
The funeral for Cheryl will be tomorrow morning at Oaks and Nicholas Funeral Home. Reporting live in Columbia, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
We also have continuing coverage from Murray County because we do know all public schools are going to be closed once again. Now, the teachers, the parents, the students, they know that. They do want to let you know that after-school athletic performances, those are still going to be going on as planned, and school is going to resume on Wednesday.
That is the plan. Right now at 8:06, Nashville tourism leaders say there are fewer people coming to our city compared to last year, but they also claim that's not necessarily a reason to worry.
We're going to tell you why something called revenge tourism is coming to an end. What is revenge tourism? We're going to get an explanation there.
And a live look over at Nissan Stadium this morning, home of our two-tone blue. Hey, speaking of the Titans, we're going to find out the NFL schedule this week.
Get 2 select breakfast biscuits or sandwiches for only $4.99 for a limited time.
If you've been injured in a car accident, call Pound Law from your cell phone. Morgan & Morgan.
8:09 is the time. The number of tourists coming to the city of Nashville is slightly down than where it had been at the same point last year. That's according to the most recent numbers from the city of Nashville. They say there is slightly less hotel rooms being sold, slightly less passengers on flights to Nashville International. It does not mean people don't like us. It doesn't mean that the tourism is drying up. It just means that the era of revenge tourism is coming to a close. Now, what is that? Well, after the pandemic, people took lots of trips. They could not get out of the house enough. They took multiple trips a year. A lot of those trips were here to Nashville, but now tourism is slowing down across the board.
I'm seeing an increase in local support, but we're seeing, and the consensus in the conversation was a decrease in people coming from other cities and outside travel in the restaurants.
The demand is up, but it's spreading out, so it's normalizing. And then when the hotel rates start to come down a little bit, that is also the sign that that we're fighting for business, and we have to be more competitive rate-wise.
Well, city leaders also say they have received several calls from cities in Canada. They have hockey teams. What do they want to know? How do you put on one of those watch parties in the park like the ones that we have here? They always get a chuckle out of that, they say. A Fox 17 News update as we now know the name of a teenager killed in an ATV crash that happened on Saturday night in the city of Nashville. Metro Police say that it happened on Darbytown Drive. That's just north of the city off of Dickerson Pike. They say that 2 14-year-old girls were on an ATV when it crashed into an SUV. Both teens were taken to the hospital. Unfortunately, Melanie Mozelda died in that particular crash. We're told that neither girl was wearing a helmet at the time. The driver of the SUV was not hurt.
Waking up this morning here to brand new updates as of 8 o'clock. Our chance for severe weather this afternoon, not across the board, but for a few of us, has gone up. Wind and hail still the biggest threats, but our latest timeline and my newest thoughts coming your way in a few minutes.
Steer clear traffic at I-40 at Spence Lane. We picked up our latest crash, slowing you down. We're going to tell you the best ways to steer clear in just a few. Plus, the push to make Nashville a safer city. Fox 17 News Control.
We've been breathing this. Lots of people don't realize that mold feeds off moisture in their crawl space. But don't worry, we got this.
At AFS, we'll do a home inspection for free.
After 2 weeks of extensive searching, the body of University of Missouri student Riley Strain was pulled from the Cumberland River. Now, Strain went missing from a Broadway bar after he was escorted out for drinking too much.
We saw his next path on some of Nashville's surveillance cameras, but those would be his last steps. And people in Nashville, even beyond now, are taking action to make sure that Music City is a more responsible place and a safe place for both locals and tourists. We have investigator Kelly Avellino joining us live right now with safety overhauls that are now on the horizon.
That's right, Erica and Jen. We know that Riley's situation got national attention and a whole lot is in the works right now. The 22-year-old leaving Luke Bryan's bar without his friends. They did not follow him after he was asked to leave. Now, what happens next, we know, is still Not confirmed, unclear, but we know it's very unnerving. Surveillance video showing us that Strain was staggering along the streets of Nashville. He was last seen near a bridge by the Cumberland River. Metro Police saying Strain's death was likely an accident, believing that he fell into the water down that embankment. Riley's family believing foul play could have been at hand. We are still waiting for the results of an autopsy to determine the cause and manner of death here, but I can tell you right now, one city leader is looking into permanently bringing on a nonprofit group that helps people sober up. It's the Red Frogs organization. They would provide a tent space downtown with water, phone chargers, seats, simply somewhere to not be left alone if you are in a vulnerable state, if you drank too much. It's to help people who don't need a ride per se to the hospital or to the police station. It's for those, so many people that just drank a bit too much to get home safely.
But what kind of emerged is a gray area where someone maybe is asked to leave a bar. They're not so drunk that they need to be taken into police custody or sent to the hospital, but they're not in a space where they're really safe to go home by themselves.
That's Councilmember Jacob Coupin on his recent discussions with all the bars on Broadway on how to handle people who are intoxicated. There's also a push, I can tell you, for a law in Riley's name, as well as a long list of safety changes and upgrades to the riverfront area. Tonight at 9, I'm going to show you all the ways that things are in the works right now that you might see changes downtown. I'm Kelly Avellino for Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
8:16, taking a look at your Code Red forecast. We're in Code Red for this afternoon toward the evening, and brand new things in the Weather Center in the last 16 minutes. Right around 8 o'clock, we have a few updates I'm going to share with you and my first thoughts on what we're seeing that has elevated our threat just a little bit. We are in alert mode for 12 p.m. until 6 p.m. I'm not changing the timeline that we've had all morning long when it comes to our potential for strong to severe storms. However, you can see a lot of yellow shading here. A good portion of Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky now in a Category 2 out of 5. What that means is our threats still look to be very similar in terms of wind and hail, just more stronger storms are possible in these areas. They're not even a guarantee yet, but we're getting indicators here that the areas that did not see rain this morning when it all fizzled out in many other spots across Middle Tennessee could have enough to work with in the atmosphere. If we get warm enough, well into the mid to upper 70s, we've got a lot of things to work with in the atmosphere. So I have elevated wind and hail. I want to put one more thing out here to show you. And this is the latest look at Future Track, taking us through noon. Everything begins around noon. Here's right around 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Things get really close to the Nashville area and do track through. But look at what happens there. We go from a line of storms to a broken line. We don't want the line to break up. The line stays together. We'll keep it a wind and hail threat. If the line were to do this, and this is kind of a brand new look we've been seeing here over the last hour, this does begin to break up, we could potentially be talking about a quick spin up. Now, that's not going to be in the Nashville area. This would be off toward the east, mainly Cumberland Plateau, and it's not a great threat. I want to stress that, but if that line breaks up, we'll watch it throughout the afternoon as it tracks in. We could be seeing some wind and some hail that we do have to contend with, and then watch for any rotation. Right now, we're relatively calm, just wet roads, wet pavement, wet grass, taking the dog out this morning. 66 degrees your temperature, and right now we're going to aim for the mid to upper 70s if we get there, and especially if we sneak in a little sun before those storms move in throughout the afternoon. That could intensify our chance for one or two of these stronger storms to develop. We'll be covering it for you all morning and into the afternoon. Follow along on social media and fox17.com.
Steer clear traffic takes us to the east side of town. Let's go to I-40 at Spence Lane, making that drive in just east of downtown. You can see where there are several vehicles stalled out here. TDOT is trying to deal with it. The best way to steer clear of any slowdowns that you don't like here is Lebanon Pike or Elm Hill Pike. That'll get you past some of the backup. We are still dealing with the crash coming down from Whites Creek and Jolton. This is happening at I-24 at Old Hickory Boulevard. You can see authorities on the scene with a couple of crashed out cars on the shoulder of the road. You can try to take Whites Creek Pike or Clarksville Pike as the best way to steer clear because it does cause some backups around 73 minutes coming down from Clarksville. Let's take you to Vietnam Vets at Gallatin Pike, dealing with better traffic conditions here. No crash to show you, but just wet conditions that will slow things down coming down from Sumner County. You could try Main Street down below, but in all honesty, give yourself the additional time you need to make sure that you can get down Vietnam Vets into your destination.
Justin, thank you. 8:19 right now, and in our community, we now know a record-breaking number of people attended the Iroquois steeplechase in Nashville over the weekend.
Organizers say more than 30,000 people showed up over at Percy Warner Park. The annual event supports causes for the Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt and Friends of Warner Park. And making history this year, the horse Snap got its third steeplechase win.
8:20 is the time right now. Still to come on Fox 17 News this morning, this hour. The two people you see here on your screen are from Middle Tennessee. They died in a shootout with police in Texas. We're going to take a closer look at
Right now, Fox 17 News, we are following breaking news involving international headlines. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is now in Ukraine and sharing his messages over on his X account. So take a look. He tweeted this out around 5:38 this Tuesday morning. He flew to the capital of Kyiv to go ahead and meet with Russian president, or I should also say that as Volodymyr Zelensky is the president there, and other top Ukrainian officials. The State Department says that this trip, though, is to reassure Ukrainian leaders that they have America's support with the war in Russia. Now, that is the same message that you're seeing with this social media post right here on your screen. Keep in mind, though, this visit does come after Congress recently approved a $60 billion aid package for Ukraine.
8:23, still working through your forecast here, monitoring what's happening along the Tennessee River here. In the last half hour, we've seen a little, not intensification in terms of strong thunderstorms, but the rain has gotten a lot heavier in a few areas. Taking a look, it's really stagnant right where it's at. This band of showers hasn't moved more than about 15 miles in the last 45 minutes. So putting a track on it, just know that it'll make its way to Dickson if it holds together within the next hour or two, if it keeps moving at the pace that it is. Likely weakening and then reforming right along the same spot here going into noon. Noon to 6 p.m. is our chance for severe weather. Nothing happening in the Nashville area, so you're set until, I would say, about mid-afternoon. If you're living Nashville on east, the later we go into the day, the more chance for showers and storms will pick up for us. We got new looks and tons of things coming your way here. This is a very evolving forecast in the last 25 minutes. A new outlook when it comes to severe weather potential for this afternoon, noon to 6 p.m. We'll look at it on future track. I've upped 2 of our 4 threats a little bit as well, and then we'll start talking about working into a weekend. Unfortunately, that weekend going to give us a few isolated showers and storms. So first thoughts to that, and then the next time we could possibly make it up near 90 degrees. That's all coming our way in just the next half hour or so. Just know if you get out the door any direction when it comes to Nashville, all you have to deal with is wet pavement, no actual rainfall coming down right now.
Steer clear traffic at 8:25. This is a look at I-40 at Spence Lane. Just picked up this crash a short time ago. Authorities on the scene dealing with that. The traffic is so congested that people are having a hard time even moving over like they're supposed to. You could try to take Lebanon Pike or Elm Hill Pike. Those are good ways to get in from the east whenever things are backed up like this. Speaking of backup, this is I-24 at Old Hickory Boulevard coming down from Wrights Creek and Jolton. Dealing with the crash there on the shoulder of the road. Authorities there in Mass. So is a tow truck now to hopefully reopen some of those lanes there very, very soon, because if not, the drive time continues to be slow. An hour and 15 minutes coming down right now from Clarksville, about an hour from Murfreesboro, 46 minutes in from Franklin.
Operation Crime and Justice right now, and this is a story that spans several states, starting here in the mid-state, going all the way to Texas, where a mid-state couple has died in a shootout. So the two people you see here on your screen from Putnam County, Elizabeth and Edward Stevenson. All right, Putnam County Sheriff's deputies, this is over on the plateau, by the way, east of Nashville. Sheriff's deputies went to their home on May 9th and found drugs and guns in their house. Well, then detectives got word that they were driving through Texas. So they reached out to deputies in Texas who found the couple, chased them for miles before that couple eventually stopped, had a shootout with deputies, and subsequently died.
Yeah, they died in that shootout. Now, authorities say they found more than $3 million worth of cocaine in the Stevenson's vehicle. All of that appeared to be coming back here to Middle Tennessee, so they were happy to be able to stop those drugs from flowing in. The investigation obviously will continue on.
As we continue Operation Crime and Justice, a Wilson County man is now facing 60 years in prison for child sex crimes against 3 children. We're going to show you a picture of the man who is now facing that sentence. This is 50-year-old Pedro Barrera, convicted of charges including child rape and aggravated sexual battery.
Now, the crimes happened between 2017 and 2020. The victims were at ages between 7 and 9 years old at the time. By the way, all 3 victims testified at the trial.
At 8:27 right now, we have a live look from the heart of Nashville. Storms rolling in today. And in case you missed it just a moment ago, our threat level for severe weather today has now
with our Code Red weather app. Fox 17 News Code Red weather alerts, empowers, protects.
This Fox 17 This Morning newscast is sponsored by the Rocky McElhaney Law Firm. You're watching Fox 17 News This Morning, your Code Red station.
We are waking up here in a Code Red weather alert, bottom right-hand side of your screen. Some of us still seeing some decent rain. A lot of us had rumbles of thunder that have cleared out in the past few hours, but we're not done. This afternoon, we have increased the chance for severe weather. Brand new news coming into the Weather Center. We'll get to in just minutes.
Steer clear traffic on the south side of town, 65 at Moores Lane. It's a bit of a slow go. We'll tell you the best ways to steer clear.
All right, thanks so much for joining us here on a Tuesday morning. For Fox 17 News, I'm Erica Glover.
And I'm Jennifer Waddell. We have 30 minutes to go. We're going to get you updated on this Code Red weather alert, especially important now that new information on our threat or risk level for today has changed. So let's check in with Greg right now. He's got the latest.
Yeah, this is where we stay. One of the reasons we stay live 7 to 9 with you live and local is because about every morning around 8 o'clock, we get a lot of new updates and new information that can come in that I can look at and we can reevaluate. And one of those brand new things is the Storm Prediction Center at 8 o'clock this morning. What we were here for, it happened in real time, upgraded our severe threat. Now, I'm not trying to scare anyone. I don't want to cause anxiety. This is still nothing like last week. They've just elevated us from a level 1 to a level 2, meaning a few more stronger storms are possible. A lot of the things still look the same, but the areas not having rain right now are the ones that have a better chance to see some wind and hail later today. Tornado threat is never at 0 whenever we're talking about severe weather chances, but it's very close to it. It still mainly will be a wind threat that we have to watch out for. These pop-up showers out toward the Cookeville and Clarksville area, they've developed here in the last hour. They're going to fizzle out here in the next hour or so as well. Nothing to worry about this morning. Same through southern Kentucky. I am monitoring one cell, though, with some decent rainfall here, almost some pink coloring moving into the viewing area as we speak. So that's the area circled for you right here. This is going from the bottom left-hand side of your screen to the top right-hand side. Holds together, makes its way to Hopkinsville in about the next half hour. You'll have lighter rain before it picks up. I'm going to also watch these little pink specks here in the next half hour to see if we have any small-size hail right in the Dover area. Here's the update. Yellow shading. So I would say the far eastern 2/3 of Middle Tennessee and southern Kentucky. Wind and hail still the biggest things. What we're going to do in a few minutes is the first thing we're going to do is not just talk about our threats, but the timeline. These were in the green category about an hour ago. I see enough to put them into the yellow now. So the threat has gone up and the number of storms has potentially gone up. This all starts right around noon. Before then, anything you see is going to be fine. Next time we talk here in a few minutes, we're going to start right here on Future Track at noon today and chunk through hour by hour who could see these storms and who has the best chance to work through any potential severe weather. Just make sure you have ways to get alerts throughout the day, and we'll fill in the rest of the blanks in a few minutes.
Steer clear traffic gets us out to I-65 at Moores Lane. You can't get into town there from that south side through Cool Springs. A bit of a slowdown here and there, but no accident to tell you about to slow you down coming in from that direction. Cannot say the same coming in from Whites Creek. They're making progress, though. This crash involving a couple of cars at 24 at OHB coming down from Jolton and Whites Creek starting to clear up. Tow truck just left the scene a short time ago. They may be waiting on one more, but if not, you could try to take Clarksville Pike or Whites Creek Pike to steer clear because the backup is rather large. How large? Well, it actually just went up by 10 minutes a few moments ago. 85 minutes. That's an hour and 25 minutes right now from Clarksville into downtown. Hendersonville, 34 minutes. Franklin, 44 minutes from that south side.
New this morning, as the Mid-State continues the cleanup efforts and really starts to rebuild from last week's tornadoes, we're now learning more about the families who have been impacted.
Fox 17 News reporter Karen Aguilar joins us now from Murray County.
Among all this destruction you see right here behind me is where I found Breanne Lovett, the daughter of the victim, Cheryl Lovett. She tells me that what you can do to help her family during this tough time is to keep her mom's memory alive.
When it hit me, it's just you hit your knees and you ask God why. You have no answers.
Breanne Lovett is still grappling with the loss of her mom, Cheryl Lovett. returning to the same area where she was killed inside her home in last week's tornado.
It's unreal. I was on the back porch. You don't think it's ever going to happen. I'm like, oh, we're just going to get some winds, you know what I mean?
Coming to terms with losing her own home in the tornado, but losing her mom is a hole that might never be filled.
Especially on Mother's Day. Yesterday was a very, very, very hard day. A house can be replaced. Family can't be.
She tells me she was a devoted mother, grandmother, and friend to those who loved her here at Stan's Restaurant, where she worked for 41 years, retiring the same day she was killed.
I've talked to so many people that knew my mom that I didn't even know knew my mom. Customers where she worked at Stan's for 41 years. They loved her. They all loved her.
Her hopes of spending more time with her grandbabies and family shattered in an instant. She tells me what she wants is for Cheryl to be remembered ahead of her funeral tomorrow for who she was.
She was an amazing person. She got to go out not long ago. I've heard a lot of good stories. She was just a fun person. Everybody loved her. Just remember my mom. We all can replace all of this. I don't want anybody to ever forget her. She's an unforgettable person, and just pray for our family.
Cheryl Lovett's funeral is tomorrow morning at Oaks and Nichols Funeral Home. Reporting in Columbia, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Karen, thank you. 8:36 right now. New this morning, just in from Goodlettsville Police. They're asking for help right now finding two women who they say stole another woman's wallet at the Cracker Barrel in Goodlettsville. And that's not the end of the story.
No, take a look right here. Police say these women stole the wallet from an elderly woman eating at Cracker Barrel back on the 4th of May. Well, police say the two women then used the stolen credit and debit cards to get this, to buy more than $10,000 worth of merchandise at various stores around Goodlettsville.
All right, pretty good pictures here. One of the women wearing red framed glasses at the time. So if you recognize either one of them, please call the number that's right there at the bottom of your screen. That's the number for Goodlettsville Police, 615-851-2219.
Well, families.
Meal deals. Incredible price, irresistible taste.
This Fox 17 This Morning newscast is sponsored by Ponce Law. Fox 17 News Farrier Files is sponsored by Durham Injury Law.
Good morning and welcome back into Fox 17 News this morning. Time right now is 8:40. It is a mid-state mystery getting national attention. Lauren Agee died under strange circumstances at Center Hill Lake almost a decade ago, and this week, nationally known detective Sheila Wysocki, Lauren Agee's family, and other victims' families are in Washington, D.C. fighting for more rights.
Fox 17 News' Dennis Ferrier has this morning's Ferrier Files. Dennis?
Well, good morning. It seems like Congress is always in gridlock. But can you get something done for victims? Nashville's most famous detective went to Washington with at least hope. When the FBI closed the Lauren Agee case, this after the DeKalb County Sheriff's Department called her death accidental, that she somehow defied the laws of physics and gravity and fell into Center Hill Lake. Her mom, Sherry Smith, was disappointed. It would not be the end of her disappointment. Private investigator Sheila Wysocki.
The FBI looked at the case. Sherry Smith sent the FBI a FOIA request, which is a Freedom of Information. They sent back a letter saying it will be 79 months before you're gonna get these files. She'll wait 7 years. So she said, go ahead. And then she got a letter saying it'll be $500.
This has absolutely rubbed all victims' rights groups the wrong way. If you close the case, if you're finished with it, why not just turn it over?
Whose interests are they looking out for with those rules?
That's a great question. Who are they looking out for? It's not the victim's family. It's not the community. The community wants to know too. It is somebody who doesn't want that information out there. That's the cold, hard facts.
And so Sheila Wysocki brought victims from 4 different states. Remember, she is a nationally known detective. People who have suffered unsolved cases and botched justice. And then this group met with Congress members and U.S. senators to tell their story. Not only does the FBI hold files too long, they say, but homicide victims just don't have enough rights. The killers have plenty, but the victims? Wysocki says Congressman Scott DeJarlais has agreed to help, that his office will look at rewriting the Homicide Victims' Rights Bill to make sure it actually does what it promises to do, and even more. Not the only good news. The family says Congressman Mark Green has agreed to look into the family's complaint about FBI policy. That alone made it worth the trip for Lauren Agee's parents. We were hoping to discover what, if anything, Congressman Green discovers, but his spokesman says, unfortunately, this can't happen. Quote, Representative Mark Green's office does everything in its power to help constituents that come to us for casework help with the federal government. We cannot discuss individual casework with the press. We also cannot get involved in legal matters, unquote. Wysocki says it's worth this difficult and expensive trip, that while Washington is full of lobbyists and special interests, she wants to advocate for ordinary people. You can call it lobbying or just call it doing the right thing.
Someone who has a death in their family that is suspicious, treat him with respect. They've gone through the proper channels, done everything properly, and we're at our last stage of what is proper. We're asking them hat in hand. We're not there to berate, to accuse. We're asking for help.
So we will see what happens. Obviously, these answers aren't there yet. The questions have been asked. We're going to follow it, of course. And isn't it interesting? You know, you go up there, they're the outliers, you know, and normal people. Now, the lobbyists for Big Pharma and, you know, Ford and the Realtors Association with their matching jackets, they're all up there meeting every day.
With their matching jackets, I'm sorry.
Well,
they're delegations. They really are.
No, they are. So, like, you're the person, the fish out of water, as a normal person going up and saying, having trouble following the camera. It's like a ping pong match. And, you know, trying to get an answer to a very specific question.
Something's got to change.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, it does. And I think, and just think of the effort. 4 families, 4 states. This private detective, 15 meetings in 3 days, hoping just to get a little help.
And by the way, I would encourage you to read more of Dennis's reporting on the Lauren Agee story alone. It is riveting.
Well, thank you.
It is incredible journalism on your part, but the story itself is just incredible. So search Lauren Agee at fox17.com for more on that.
Thanks, Tom.
Fox 17 News Farrier Files is sponsored by Bart Durham Injury Law.
8:45 our time, and we have new weather updates for you as of 8 o'clock this morning. Our next weather maker has not changed. It is stormy, and we are code red for noon to 6 p.m., but there are some changes to what we're seeing setting up. We had the rain move in overnight and a few rumbles of thunder, but it just died out. All this territory out here to our east of I-65 is seeing almost nothing. So when this moves through, our chance for wind and hail to increase in a few of these thunderstorms and embedded thunderstorms could be on the heavier side. Timing it into Nashville between about 2 and 4 p.m. and pulling toward the Cumberland Plateau through 5 and 6. More thoughts on our threats that have gone up just a touch coming up in the next Look at Your Forecast in a few minutes.
Very quick look at Sierra Clear traffic. Traffic is cleared at a couple of spots. 65 at Wedgwood, slow, but no more accident in that area. 24 at OHB from Whites Creek, also looking good as the accident has cleared. We'll continue to watch the roads over the next few minutes.
Today, Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell will lay out his state of the metro.
We use that other companies don't. Followed up by warranties that, again, are unmatched in the industry and providing all of it at a very fair and affordable price.
Welcome back. 8:48 is the time, and happening this morning in about 2 hours or so, Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell is going to deliver his first annual State of the Metro address.
All right, scheduled for 10 o'clock this morning. They'll be over at the fairgrounds in Nashville. Mayor O'Connell expected to highlight the work that they've been doing the last, few months when it comes to recommending how to make Nashville better. He is expected to address feedback that he's been getting from people living in Nashville regarding what could make the city better, safer, more livable. We'll have more on that 61st annual State of the Metro address starting tonight on Fox 17 News at 5:30.
Right now, though, with more on our Code Red weather alert, that is our meteorologist. Hi there, Greg.
Hey, updates here for you. I'm going to work you through Future Track one more time like we did a few minutes ago and go even slower to really let us find our hometowns on this, because this will really be an afternoon. that we have to watch. And it's not going to be as rough as Wednesday of last week. It won't even compare to Wednesday of last week. But there could be one or two strong to severe storms that do fire up, and they've given us a better chance for that happening by elevating us to a level 2 out of 5. Right now, not much happening downtown other than just some wet pavement. You got a good window of opportunity here this morning until around noon for just about all of us to get outside. Even those of us that have rain along the Tennessee River right now off toward the west, nothing even close to severe indicators and not even really that much thunder or lightning. So we have our level 1 that we had all morning that's been squeezed to the west. And now the 2/3 of us here across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky are in a level 2. It doesn't mean that the storms are going to be stronger necessarily. It's an indicator that there could be more of them. The threat's still going to be wind and hail, just a better chance for a couple of those to get a little on the strong side. I need to preface this as we go through future track, though, that we have to watch for one thing that we don't want to happen. We know the setup is right around noon, and everything begins to track to the east. I would say between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock, the best window of opportunity to move through the Nashville area. Continuing to the east, that line could break up. If that line breaks up into the areas that have not seen rain yet this morning, we could get those stronger storms that become little isolated supercells. Small chance it could happen, but if it does, then we can't rule out in our eastern counties the possibility of a spin-up tornado. Now, that line has to break apart first, and we have to get strong enough to begin with before it even does, but our eyes will be on it all morning and afternoon, again, noon through 6 p.m. Not done yet, though. Coming up in a few minutes, we have the 7-day forecast for you that has some tweaks to temperature for not just today, but leading into the upcoming weekend that we'll show you in a few moments.
Another look at steer clear traffic. Let's get you to I-65 at Trinity Lane on the north side this morning. We're doing okay. A typical slowdown as things are starting to come to a much better traffic flow here at the end of our 8 o'clock hour. Even though the rain is pushing through, a lot of it is dried up, leaving drier conditions and much better conditions for people out there. That includes over on the east side. This is 40 at Fessler's, making that push in. We're doing really, really nicely over there. And Vietnam Vets even looking a lot better, making that drive in from Sumter County. The rain pushing out really has helped improve things, and that's exactly what we like to see as we push towards 9 o'clock.
Just ahead here on Fox 17 News, we're going to have an update regarding the 10-year-old injured after being swept into a storm.
Can control it. 3-day blinds. Find the light for your life. Visit 3dayblinds.com to get started.
Continuing coverage on the Rutherford County 10-year-old swept into a storm drain by fast-moving water. Showing you a photo right behind us here,
yes,
too.
This is Asher Sullivan, and his dad is the director of Rutherford County Schools, Dr. Jimmy Sullivan. And Dr. Sullivan says that his family was told initially from the doctors at Vanderbilt University Medical Center that Asher was no longer breathing on his own yesterday and had no eye movement. But later in the day, doctors did notice his pupils moving. So the family is now playing an unbelievably heartbreaking waiting game. They are just praying for a miracle. We know that Asher has lung damage, brain damage. All of the sweet people in Rutherford County Schools have shown their support, though, wearing blue and green for Asher, his favorite colors.
And new this morning in Operation Crime and Justice, we take you to Goodlettsville, where police are asking for your help trying to track down 2 women they say stole a woman's wallet at a Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, and then went on a shopping spree with it. Take a look here. Pretty good pictures of the 2 women that police are looking for. They say that these ladies stole the wallet from an elderly woman who was eating at the Cracker Barrel in Goodlettsville, May 4th. The 2 women, according to police, then used the stolen credit and debit cards to rack up more than $10,000 worth of purchases at various stores around Goodlettsville.
If you recognize these women on your screen, you were asked to call the number that we're also sharing right here at the bottom of your screen. By the way, we're going to get this story posted over on fox17.com.
Operation Crime and Justice continues. A Putnam County couple is dead after a shootout with police in Texas. And the way this whole thing unfolded, pretty wild.
The bizarre scenario. The Putnam County Sheriff's Office says they found drugs and guns in Elizabeth and Edward Stevenson's home. That was May 9th. Well, they say at the time of the search, detectives got a tip that the Stevensons were driving through Texas. And we're told deputies in Texas tried to stop the Stevensons, who drove several miles before stopping and firing at deputies, and the two were ultimately killed. Okay, so crews in Texas say they found more than $3 million worth of cocaine in the vehicle that they belonged to, all of which appear to be coming right back here to Middle Tennessee.
All right, 8:57 right now is your time, and we've got a live look into downtown Nashville. Been a mixed bag of rain and storms this morning across the mid-state. Greg's here to tell us how that's expected to continue throughout the day.
That it will, and maybe even woke you up really early, right around sunrise in the Nashville area. Here's how today works. We are in code red for this afternoon into this evening. The morning hours, there's still some rain out there, especially along the Tennessee River on our western counties, our western